that we would be doing photos.
The driver asked if anybody had a cell phone to take pictures with.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Mary Paul is suing John and Mary Block for the cost of a carriage ride as part of her daughter's wedding.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 202 on the calendar, the matter Paul versus Block.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Block, you hired the defendants who have a horse and carriage for your daughter's wedding.
Correct.
And the arrangement was you were going to pay them a certain amount of money to ride your daughter and her fiancé around and take photographs before they reached a place where either the wedding or the reception was supposed to take place.
Yes, Your Honor.
When was the wedding?
August 13th, 2016.
It is your claim that they didn't perform that service satisfactorily and you didn't get your money's worth. You want your money back, plus, whatever. Anyway, how much did you pay them?
$650 for 1 hour.
And the hour was supposed to start, they supposed to pick your daughter up from?
After the ceremony, we had the ceremony at Pioneer Park, and they were supposed to deliver them to the reception hall approximately 3 blocks away, but the ride was going to go further.
You're the bride?
Yes.
Could you stand up, please? Tell me your last name.
Paul. Paul is my maiden name. Married name is Johnson.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, you had the ceremony.
Yes.
When did the ceremony start?
The ceremony started at 3:30 p.m. on August 13th.
And when was it over?
It was over roughly about 4 o'clock to 4:15.
What time did the carriage arrive?
The carriage arrived around 4:30.
As contracted for?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what time did you depart the carriage?
We departed from Pioneer Park at 4:36 p.m.
And what time did you get to the reception?
We got to the reception hall at 5 after 5.
Did you have a conversation with the defendants about where the ride should be taking you?
No, my mom and dad surprised me with it.
So you were surprised when you came out of the ceremony?
Yes.
I said, nice. Was the day nice?
It was very beautiful.
Did you take any pictures?
Yes, we have some pictures.
I'd like to see them.
Here's arrival at Dolo Park, and I have some professional pictures as they left Pioneer Park if you want those. Here's 3. And yeah.
Did you have a written contract with the defendants?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Here's this, and I put a note at the top because we weren't sure of the ceremony time.
No,
the
you
original
don't put any
contract.
note on the top.
Okay.
If you had a contract, that's what the contract is. Who prepared this contract?
I did, Your Honor.
So I'm not looking at any of this.
Okay.
You have to understand that because this says the contract terms say any change in the contract has to be in writing and signed by both parties. You added this when?
Prior to signing it.
Oh, okay. Is that correct? Prior to signing it, she says paid by check, and this may change to 4:30 to 5:30. Need to finalize the ceremony time. I assume that was before this was signed because you did, in fact, pick them up at 4:30, despite the fact that your contract says from 5 to 6.
We try to be accommodating.
No, that's not what I said.
I'm sorry?
What I said was the plaintiff says that she added this, that the contract time could change before she signed it, and that from 5 to 6, and actually you picked them up at 4:30.
Right.
Okay. So what you're saying is they only provided half of the service.
Correct.
And when you were dropped off, you didn't know what the circumstances were of the hour that your mother had contracted.
No, because it was a surprise.
Okay, so they arrived at 4:30, they dropped you off at 5:05.
Yes.
Ball is in your court. Who was the driver? And? Go ahead.
We did indeed pick them up at the park.
Pick them up on time. That's not the issue.
And there were photographs taken there. And I made note of the photographers, and they went around the carriages and took professional photos. And then we traveled that route as opposed to a straight direct route because there's a pretty big hill, so we didn't want the horse to slip. Plus, it would give them a longer ride.
No, they contracted for an hour. but you only kept them out for 35 minutes.
In that hour, we also figured into that we would be doing photos. So we figured we would be held up at the bridge and the gazebo so that we would be well within our time and probably over, because sometimes the photographers...
But what I'm saying is they paid for an hour. They didn't get an hour's worth of...
Then, sometime after 5, they have a picture that documents it as 5:07. They took some other photos, and then the bride and the groom, well, we expected. I left the gazebo because I found no photographers there at all. So we left the gazebo and went up the hill, and I thought, well, maybe the photographers are up there, because we've done lots of weddings, and I've been told, well, the photographer's going to be here, the photographer's going to be there, and they haven't been. So as I was looking for the photographers and didn't see them, I couldn't stop and wait because it's very busy down there on that walkway, and I didn't want to hold up any traffic. There's children, there's dogs, and I wanted to keep the horse moving. So then when
I'm just asking
Okay.
you this question. You're getting... When you dropped off the bride and groom in front of the reception area, and where was that?
The Lowell Inn in Stillwater, Minnesota.
At the inn, did you say to them, you can have this carriage ride for another 25 minutes if you like?
I was hoping that the photographers would come out, and then I figured the time would be used up with the photographers taking pictures there. Someone jumped out of the carriage. They were going to go in and check and find the photographers and bring them back out so that we could have... It's a beautiful inn. And he hopped out. He was going to go get somebody.
Oh, the groom?
It wasn't the groom. It wasn't the groom.
Who went in to look for the photographer?
Nobody did, Your Honor. The only thing that happened was when we pulled up to the Lowell Inn, the reception hall, nobody was there. And the driver asked if anybody had a cell phone to take pictures with. And I asked my husband to pull out his cell phone and gave it to the best man, who was his brother. The best man got out and took pictures of the pictures we gave you.
Were you expecting a photographer to be there?
I did not know any of this because it was a surprise.
Well, were you there?
I was not there, but I sent the photographers to the bridge, and I had told them the day before the photographers would be on the bridge, and they were on the bridge at 5.
Your problem, Miss Paul, is that I don't think that these people cheated you. I don't think that, A, the communication that you made to your daughter was nil because it was a surprise.
Correct.
And you weren't there to let everybody know what was going on. And it does not require pictures on the bridge, by the way, your contract. All it says is that they are to provide carriage services for 1 hour. And they could have sat in front of the inn. Did you go into the inn? At the inn?
10 after 5, we went in.
Okay, so then you left the carriage outside.
Yes.
So at 10 after 5, you went into the inn with now your husband.
Yes.
Well, what did you want them to do?
Well, the ride, okay, so I had all of our guests up at Pioneer Park, and we started walking down to the inn, because, again, it was just approximately 3 blocks away. I actually myself walked down to the inn. Her father, he drove down. None of us saw the carriage at all. It was gone. Well, it wasn't there. But they were supposed to get an hour ride and be delivered at 5:30. We had guests arriving at 5:10 to 5:30.
It wasn't communicated to your daughter. She went inside. She left the carriage. She left. Her father could have said, listen, we have the carriage until 5:30. Let's wait until 5:30. Take some pictures. We'll find the photographer. Somebody should have been there to coordinate it.
When the carriage left, I did tell the kids they had a 1-hour carriage ride. Put your feet up and relax.
Well, that's just a second. Great. But they left the carriage.
Well, they weren't watching the clock, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm not watching the clock
sorry.
either. You have no case. And nice pictures. Are you happily married?
Yes, I am.
Good for you. Case is dismissed. We're done.
Are you excused? You may step out.
I went over everything with the carriage people the day before.
Yeah, back and forth about just... I didn't get what I wanted.
I told
back to the photographers, and I'm like, I don't control the photographers.
And they just made the ride last 35 minutes and totally wrecked the whole timeline.
And she didn't want to tell her daughter. She certainly could have told somebody else that was in the carriage.
I was shocked. I really was. It wrecked the evening for me.
That wouldn't have let it go, that it was a surprise.
It really did. And I did not tell her anything until the next day because I didn't want her wedding destroyed.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Logan versus Daniels. Step forward.
Cheryl Logan is suing her former landlord Robin Daniels, for moving costs, a false restraining order, and harassment.
Miss Logan, Miss Daniels was your landlady.
Yes, she was, ma'am.
You moved,
Yes, I did, ma'am.
and now you're suing her for several things. The costs of your moving, because you say she was a terrible landlord.
Yes.
She filed a false restraining order against you.
That's true, Your Honor.
So she said you were a miserable tenant, although at first blush looked okay. She said she filed a restraining order because you threatened her on Facebook.
Yes.
That's what you say in your answer.
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She went and she found what appears to be a fabulous house that she seems to love at half the rent. So everybody should be happy. Now, I want you to tell me why and when you filed.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cheryl Logan is suing her former landlord, Robin Daniels, for moving costs, a false restraining order, and harassment.
Now, when did you move in?
I moved in January of 2014.
When did you move out?
February the 29th of 2016 this year.
So you lived there for 2 years.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
What was the rent?
The rent was $697 a month.
Did you pay the rent or was it Section 8 housing?
Section 8 housing.
So they paid the rent?
They paid the portion of theirs, and
What was your portion?
my portion was $697.
And there's no indication here that that rent wasn't paid. So that was paid during the term of the lease?
She paid it. Some days, some months she was late,
But it was
she paid
paid.
it. Yes.
Okay. Now, you moved out in February of 2016. Where did you move to?
I moved to Palmdale, California.
Where was the prior residence?
Palmdale, California.
So you moved within the same town.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about the place that you moved into.
I moved into a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house. A beautiful, nice home. It's over 3,900 square feet. Front yard, backyard. It's real nice.
And when did you move into that house?
February the 29th.
Just the same date as you moved out.
Yes.
And what's the rent there?
My rent there now is $385.
So let me understand this. What you did is you moved out 3-bath home that's gorgeous, and you're paying half the rent.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was no dislocation between moving out of the prior residence and moving into this residence. Now, what moving costs would you like her to pay?
Well, actually, I didn't have any money to move. It was at the end of, like, the first of the year. I didn't have any money to...
So what are you suing her for?
My moving costs of my money for me to move into a different house.
Forget it. What's next? Forget it. What's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
Well,
What's
she
next?
filed a fake restraining order on me.
That I'll hear.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when did you file a restraining order against her?
I filed in February, the same month she was about to move out. February is 15, 16, somewhere up in there.
And she had given you notice that she was moving?
No, I gave her a 60-day notice for her to move out. Took it to Section 8, and they signed the papers, and she had to move February the 20-something. I got tired of her harassment on...
Whatever. You gave her a notice to leave, and it was fine. She went and she found what appears to be a fabulous house that she seems to love at half the rent. So everybody should be happy. Now, I want you to tell me why you filed the restraining order. You filed it in February. Now you're going to tell me why.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Read to me what you say is a threat. It's nasty. There's no question it's nasty. That's what people do on the jobs and lives. But I want you to read to me what you say is a threat.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cheryl Logan has accused former landlord Robin Daniels of owing for moving costs, a restraining order, and harassment.
Now, I want you to tell me why you filed the restraining order.
I filed it because she kept calling people saying I'm doing this and doing that, which it was about a
I
leak.
don't know. I don't understand what that means.
She called building safety, Palmdale Building Safety, about a leak in the ceiling. I went
Okay,
out.
so just a second. So she would call authorities, housing-type authorities, to
Yes.
complain about your residence.
Yes. And my house also is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, too.
Nice. She likes this one better, and it's less money.
No, otherwise it's less money because she had more people in her house when she was at my residence. So if you have
How
more
many people were at the house?
She had her daughter and her granddaughter living there at the time. And
So
the
there was
rest of her
another
kids.
family.
Yes. So when they there, their rent is up because of the income. When you have less people and less income, your income go down.
Okay, I'd like to see the paper that you filed for a protective order, and I'd like to see the threat that she made to you that you say caused you to file the restraining order because calling building protective order. So I want to see what you
Well, that ain't
filed.
the only one she called. She called...
I don't care who she called. This is a free country. She can call whoever she wants to call. I want to see the threat that you say she made on Facebook, and I want to see what you filed. What are you showing me? I want you to read to me what you say is a threat. Read to me what you say is a threat. It's nasty. There's no question it's nasty. That's what people do on the internet. They have nothing else to do. They should all have very busy jobs and lives, and then they wouldn't have so much time to spend so much nasty time on the internet. But I want you to read to me what you say is a threat.
I mean, she's saying she go hit me where it really hurt more than me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that means when she said she go hit me more. And then she's saying that, oh, I'm going to get your license where you can't rent to no one. You go lose everything. So I'm not knowing what it is. And I took it as a threat to me. I mean, harassment. I mean, she got my kid's name all on the internet.
I want to see that.
Well, it says...
Just a sec. Just say, where does it say? Read it to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, where did she threaten to beat the hell out of you? Read it to me.
I'm going to hit her where it's going to hurt her.
You could say that that was hitting you physically, because if you go on, she's really talking about taking away your livelihood in your pocketbook. But I suppose you could. I want you to say, this is a quote that you wrote in your papers for a protective order. Beat the hell out of me. Did she ever say that?
Oh, and let me see what this one is.
No, I don't see that either.
I never said that, Your Honor.
I don't know, is it in a text or on a picture, but I don't have it.
I never said it.
Okay.
Never.
And tell me what happened with the protective order.
It was dismissed, Your Honor. It was
Yeah.
dismissed. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
It was more of she stay away from me, I stay away from her. She can't put nothing on Facebook.
I'd like to see it.
She can't put nothing on Facebook
I'd like to
about
see it.
anything.
So you both went to see a judge?
We went to saw
a mediator.
we went to saw the judge. The judge went.
Or does it go to
You
a
went to a mediation?
Yes, ma'am.
Shh. Oh, fine. That's good. Oh, this is great. So that each of you agreed to stay away from the other, not to contact each other's families on social media, Facebook.
Right.
This case went through mediation.
Right, it did.
Went through mediation.
Yes.
Very good. Your case is dismissed. You have no case. We're done. Thank you.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She's just a conniving, miserable woman.
Because I got tired of her with all this nonsense.
I mean, I left your house, you lied and restrained, or you tried to decharacterize me as being a game maker, which I'm not.
Calling different people over a piece of mail. This all started over a piece of mail.
Because the mediator saw it was all kind of loopholes in there. You didn't have a story, you didn't have no evidence. It's done.
All I told her, just give me my mail, because I had just moved out the house, and she had a problem with that.
Well, yeah, we were doing fine up until everything in the house started getting broke.
The leak in the ceiling, and I came out to have someone to fix it.
I complained about her getting fixed. She didn't want to get it fixed. She didn't want to spend no money.
My home warranty insurance come out. They didn't see nothing wrong, so they said nothing they can do.
Then I had to call the officials on her. That's it. I mean, I'm paying too much rent.
She called the Palmdale City.
Yeah, she called officials on me. She called DCFS on me. She called the police on me.
She just called everybody just to get my life.
To deal with her no more, never in life. Thank God.
Yes, I am. Ooh, I don't got to deal with her no more.
I've been running a golf tournament 35 years.
I would assume that you love the game of golf.
Yes. A retiree hit the links for a good cause.
You won $400 because you and your friends came in first place.
That is correct.
Now,
It's really all about the charity, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
he's teeing off on the organizers.
You want more money.
Yes, Your Honor.
You do understand that I'm not sympathetic with you.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
John Januszkiewicz is suing Cheryl Lindsay for unpaid prize money from a golf tournament.
Order. All rise. This
case number 214 on the calendar in the matter of Yana Skawitz versus Lindsay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Yanuskewicz, what do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a retired postal worker.
And I would assume that you love the game of golf.
Yes.
You have a restaurant or a bar.
Restaurant, full service restaurant.
And annually, Miss Lindsay runs a contest at her restaurant.
Yes.
Which is one of your favorite restaurants, and it's a golf contest. I assume it's designed to benefit a charity?
Yes, it is.
Which charity?
For a young woman or man going to college to major in special needs, it's a $5,000 scholarship for them to help them with their education.
And how long have you been having this golf contest?
I've been running a golf tournament 35 years.
How are the funds raised? Do people pay an entrance fee
Yes,
to play?
Yes, I have the golf registration.
I'd like to
see
see
that. Oh, sorry.
So you pay $100 to register for this tournament.
For myself, I also paid for 4 other players.
What is the prize at the end of the tournament for the winning? Is it a foursome?
We had a 5-some, Your Honor.
A fivesome. Okay. What's the prize?
The prize we received in an envelope was $400.
Now, does it say anywhere what the prize will be? Is it advertised where the prize will be?
No.
So you don't know when you register whether the prize will be $400 or $300 or $600. Prize according to how many people come?
Yes, it is. Okay. My witness can actually, I don't golf, and I don't really understand a lot of the golf lingo, but my witness, John, can attest to how that's broken
what
down.
I want to know is, usually if you enter a golf tournament, there is a prize at the end of that tournament, even if you are raising money for a charity.
Right.
How are people advised what the prize will be?
Again, I don't want to say something I don't really understand. Can John explain that
Do
to
you understand?
I do, Your Honor.
But could you stand up and tell me? Tell me your last name, sir.
McLaughlin, John McLaughlin.
Do you work at the restaurant?
No, Your Honor.
You're a golfer.
I'm a golfer and I volunteer at the restaurant for this particular golf tournament.
That's for charity.
For charity.
Now, is this a fund where you put the money because the checks are made payable to Lindsay's restaurant?
Yes, I have a nonprofit. I have an ID number if you'd like to see that.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. And also there's a breakdown of the cost for the tournament, what we took in, and where the money goes to.
Okay, fine. Okay, so you don't donate the meal at the restaurant. You charge, paid out, $2,430 for dinner at the restaurant. There's $100, and then there's food, prime rib seafood medley, $24.30. So I'm just asking, you don't donate the food. Because I see there is labor here, and the labor, waiters, waitresses, they may not donate the time. I'm just asking you. That's the answer to the question, is you don't donate the food.
You're right. You're right, Your Honor.
Okay, so you took in about $12,500, and you paid out, including the scholarship, which was $5,000, you paid out $13,000. But that took into account your $24.30 for food.
Yes.
So you made your $5,000 for the charity.
Yes.
Which you did, in fact, donate.
Yes.
Fine. And you won $400 because you and your friends came in first place.
That is correct.
But you had no prior knowledge that that was going to be the prize because there's nothing written anywhere on the flyer. Okay, now, you want more money.
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain it to me.
On June 6th, we played in the tournament.
You won, first place. Why do you want more money?
It was a skin pool put on by John.
By you?
Correct.
Okay. So, in addition to the other prizes here, there's a skins pool.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see if that's here. 50-50 raffle, closest to the hole, longest drive pool.
I believe it's on there.
Well, only because it says first prize winner, and somebody wrote in winner 300, skins 100, which is $400. Okay. Explain to me what you put on, John, with regard to the skins game.
Okay, Your Honor. What happens is the day of the tournament, we try to collect $20 per group. That goes into a separate kitty for the skins pool. On June 6th, we collected money for 15 groups. That brings us to 300. So that goes into a separate envelope for skins. Then we match the 300 for the winner. No one knows what the winner's going to get because we don't know what we're going to collect for that day. The 300 that we bring in has nothing to do with the 300 we pay out. The 300 is separate for skins. Now, the way, I'm not sure if you know how skins work, but the way the skins work is that, like, for instance, on a par 3, if the team gets a par 2, they get 1 point. However, if another team matches that, it's blocked out. 2-tie, all-tie. We go through all the cards, right through all 18. What happened on June 6th was that the plaintiff's team won 1 skin, another team won 1 skin, and another team won 1 skin. So you have 300 divided by 3. Each of them got 100. The other 2 teams donated the money back to the scholarship. The plaintiff got 300 for winning and 100 for the skin pool.
Did you win last year?
Yes, Your Honor, we did win last year.
And how much did you win?
$400.
So your question plus the $100.
I believe there was more money in the skin pool.
Can you prove that to me?
I approached John at the restaurant.
No. Can you prove that to me?
No, I cannot.
Okay, so the answer is no.
Right.
That's what he said was there. I mean, actually, it's really all about the charity, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's why you're playing.
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And at best, what you're claiming is $100. Because if last year the first prize was $400 and you won, but that's not written anywhere. And this year you got $400, but you also got $100 for skins, which you had to share with 3 other people, and you don't have any proof that that's not true. The difference that we're talking about is $100. So I don't actually understand why you're here.
I'm here because after the event, first place envelope, $400, nothing was mentioned at the skin pool at the restaurant, period. Nothing. He told us that we won the whole skin pool. No other teams won the skin pool.
What other teams won the skin pool?
The Gendron team and the Driscoll team. And I did tell John that the cards were laid out in the dining room, and we can go over them if you want. And he decided to leave because I had one guy check them, and I rechecked them to make sure they were accurate before we announced who the winners were. And that's what it came down to.
And you volunteer your time for
Yes.
this event?
Real estate developer. I have a law degree. I do zoning and land use.
You do understand that I'm not sympathetic with you.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Everybody comes to the event with the purpose of playing a game of golf for a good cause and having a great day.
Yes.
And all it cost you to treat your friends was $100.
And later today,
The objective data is your 54-year-old son, who you were leaving in a responsible position to take care of your 4 dogs and 1 cat, saw this man come in. He contained the dogs, but he didn't think to contain the cat.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
John Yanaskewicz has accused Cheryl Lindsay of failing to pay prize money from a charity golf tournament.
Okay. You do understand that you have no proof that, first of all, there's no promise to pay a certain amount of money anywhere. The only evidence that you had was last year you won first place and you got $400. Well, I don't know how many people participated last year. This year, there were 81 players at $100 each. And then there was money for sponsors. He comes to the event with the purpose of playing a game of golf for a good cause and having a great day.
Yes.
And all it cost you to treat your friends was $100, because if you put the envelope in your pocket and you had already paid for your friends, then all this great day cost you was $100. Did you have dinner?
Yes, we did.
Did you pay extra for dinner?
No.
All 5 friends had dinner?
4 friends.
4 friends. And you had prime rib and seafood, right?
Yeah.
Did you pay an additional green fee?
No.
So your $100 bought you a dinner and green fees.
That's correct.
And lunch coolers. Did you get a lunch cooler?
I don't remember that.
With a logo? What is that?
It's a lunch cooler, and we put water in it and some snacks when they're out golfing.
So the 4 players that you brought along all got one of those? Yes. Right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Certified letters I sent to the restaurant. I got no response.
He sent it, but it had been discussed with him, so I didn't respond.
I've been thrown out of the restaurant.
I just don't want that kind of person around in my restaurant.
Don't get in the skin pool.
He absolutely missed the spirit of what the charity event's for.
Nguyen versus Russell. Step forward.
Flooring contractor Nan Nguyen is suing his former client, Terry Russell, for unpaid labor and materials.
You did some work for the defendant, staining her floors.
Yes, I did.
And she didn't pay you when you were finished with the job.
Correct, yes.
That's what you're suing her for, your
Yes.
compensation. And the balance of what she owes you is, how much was the whole job?
The whole job was $9,080.
And how many rooms did you do? How many floors?
We did an existing floor, 450 square feet of the existing floor for her, and I put in a new kitchen floor for her.
And how much did she pay you? Did she give you a deposit?
She didn't give me any deposit or anything.
You bought the materials first? Had you ever done work for her before?
I recently did the same house for her about a year ago.
And she came back to you?
She came back to me because we did a good job, and she
Okay, so
requested-
that's why you didn't take a deposit from her for this,
Yes.
for this job?
Right.
Okay. Who do you live with in this house?
Myself and my 4 dogs and a cat.
You have a son?
Yes, I do.
How old is he?
He is 54.
Where does he live?
He lives in South Sacramento.
And where do you live?
I live in Rockland,
How
California.
far away is that? When Mr. Nguyen came back to complete the floors, is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen doesn't have a key to your house.
Yes, he did have a key to the house.
He had a key. Did you use the key to get into the house, Mr. Nguyen?
Yes, I did.
On what date?
Around August 15th, I believe.
Okay, and that was the arrangement, that you were going to come in and finish the floors? Was that the arrangement that you made with Miss Russell?
Yes, we had a talk of a roughly date that she was going to be out of town for me to come by and complete the floor.
So she was going to be away from what days to what days? Do you recall?
I'm not sure exactly the date.
Well, I want you to get to know exactly the date. That's why you're here. It's your business. This is a
Right.
business that you have. Because bottom line, she says that you did do the floors, but you didn't contain the cat. Her cat. Her cat was out. Her cat got out and damaged all the floors that you did by leaving paw prints all over, which meant that once it dried, the floors would have to be stripped down again and redone. So that's why we're here. She has a ridiculous counterclaim, which is because of your negligence, the cat got out and ruined her couch.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You put the cat in the laundry room with the cat litter, water, food, period. It's just the first time your son took care of him if you left him for 3 weeks. So he didn't use his noodle. Not him. Your son didn't use his brains.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Flooring contractor Nen Ewan says former client Terry Russell owes for work he completed on her home. Terry is countersuing for a damaged couch and poor workmanship.
Okay, the dates are important, Mr. Nguyen.
Yes.
She has 4 dogs and a cat. She clearly took care of the dogs, but there was a cat that was left home to fend for itself, which somebody had to take care of so that the cat wouldn't step all over everything. Do you understand?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. And she told you about that?
She never told me about that. She told me that she was going to be out on those days and that she would be...
What days?
I believe was the 23rd that she was going to be out of town. We were that there would be a good time for me to come by and finish the floor.
Is that the date that you came in?
Yes.
On the 23rd?
I believe so.
Do you remember what day he came in, Miss Russell?
August 16th.
Were you out of town?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so maybe he has the dates wrong. Who was taking care of your dogs?
My son was staying
there
for about 3 weeks.
Did you contact her son?
When I got there, her son was there. The entranceway to...
So he was there when...
Yes.
So you used your key.
Yes.
Opened it up. Son was there. Were the dogs there?
Yes.
Interesting. Did you have a discussion with him?
Yes, I did.
Did you tell him what you were going to be doing?
Yes, we did.
And he took the dogs away?
The dogs were contained by a gate. They were all contained with the gate.
Who put the dogs in that area?
When I got there, it was there already. It was in the main living room.
So
there.
the dogs were already contained?
Yes.
When you did your work, did the dogs remain in the house contained in that spot?
Yes.
So clearly your son had put the dogs in the contained area.
No, I contained the dogs before I went.
Is what you're telling me your son didn't take the dogs out for 3 weeks?
No, he took them out, but
Well,
he
that's what I'm
put
saying
them
to-
back in
That's
the
what I'm saying.
contained area.
That's exactly what I'm
Yeah.
saying to you. So
Yeah.
on the date that he came and spoke to your son, your 54-year-old son, that he's not damaged, is he, in
No.
any way,
No.
mentally? So he knew that he was coming in to stain the floors. And I'm sure he had walked the dogs that day. The night before he had walked the dog, because he was staying at your house, you said, for 3 weeks.
Yes.
So he knew where they were coming. And I assume he also feeds the cat.
Yes, he does.
And he knew there was a cat there.
Yes.
So he contains the dogs, because he knows he's coming. Your son contains the dogs, but clearly did not contain the cat.
My son claims that he did not speak with Mr. Wynn on that day.
Then you should have brought your son. Who did you bring with you?
My sister.
Well, what did you bring your sister for instead of bringing your son? Your son can tell me what the conversation was. You can't tell me what the conversation was. The objective data is your 54-year-old son, who you were leaving in a responsible position to take care of your 4 dogs and 1 cat, saw this man come in. He contained the dogs because he had to, at some point, have taken them out and put them back and realized that he had to keep them contained because he was coming to stain the floors. But he didn't think to contain the cat. Where do you keep the cat litter?
In the laundry room.
Good. So laundry room have a door?
Yes, it does.
Then you put the cat in the laundry room with the cat litter, water, food, period. That's what he knows that because he's been taking care of them for 3 weeks. Is this the first time your son took care of your animals?
Yes, it is.
Well, you must have had tremendous confidence in him if you left him for 3 weeks. So he didn't use his noodle. Not him. Your son didn't use his brains.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
I was not informed of what Mr. Wynn was going to do. I spoke with him on August 10th when he was at the house working on the floor. So I told him at that time, I said, remember I told you I'm going on vacation and I'm leaving next Saturday for the cabin, so you need to keep me in the loop of what you're going to do. If I had known he was going to stain the floors, I believe it was my responsibility to board the cat, which I would have done. And he didn't keep me informed of what was going on or when things were going to happen.
Listen to me. You hired him and you gave him access to your house. You gave him access to your house so clearly. You look like a lady who likes to be in charge. If he was doing a shoddy job, you wouldn't have given him access to your house and a key to your house. That's how much you trusted him. You also gave your son the authority to do whatever was necessary in your home because you left him alone there for 3 weeks with your animals to take care of 4 dogs and 1 cat. And a 54-year-old man, when he comes in and says, I'm going to finish the floors, he contains the dogs, and then he takes the cat and he puts the cat in the laundry room with a bowl of water and some Friskies, and the cat litter, takes the dogs out. He's careful.
And
you have
again,
to pay.
my
You have to
son-
pay him. Judge for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Half my house was destroyed by cat prints.
In the middle of the job, the cat walked in. There was no stopping it.
He did not tell me he was going to stain the floors. Otherwise, I would have boarded the cat.
By the time I get to it, it was gone. It was a very nosy cat.
I thought that the bank was trying to cheat me or something.
Did you ask your mother about where the money was?
A daughter looks for her lifelong savings.
You closed this account shortly after it was opened?
I don't remember closing the account.
Now her mother goes under the microscope.
I also got several other places involved: the Better Business Bureau, the FDIC, the news.
It's a terrible thing for a child to allege that a parent is a thief.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ashley Cain is suing her mother, Susan Freeman, for stealing money from a CD.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 210 on the calendar in the matter of Cain versus Freeman.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Cain, this is your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that when you were 17, which was how long ago?
Roughly 10 years? 12 almost. Actually, sorry, 12.
When's your birthday?
4/28/87.
Okay. You opened up a CD with some money. Your mother had to be a joint owner on the CD because you were a minor. Where did you get that money from?
Well, I'd started working at, I believe, 16, my first job, and I'd been saving up money in my bedroom, and I had 12 $100 bills at one point, and they decided that I should put the money, my father, I believe, decided it's probably safer to put the money in the bank.
Are your parents still together?
Yes.
So you went to the bank?
Yes.
Who did you go with?
Just me and my mom.
And signed the papers and let the money sit there. When did you try to close out the CD?
Last year.
Was it a 10-year CD or was it?
It was an 18-month flex in the paperwork, but it was supposed to be on automatic renewal. And last year I went to take the money out whenever me and my husband got married last year and went to buy a home last September. And I've been looking for it since last September.
Did you ask your mother about where the money was?
Yeah, when I started looking for it and the bank said that they didn't have any, was trying to cheat me or something. And that's when I started asking for some help.
Who did you ask for help?
I asked several different places. I started first at the Texas Bank, and then I found out they actually sold the account in 06, 07. And they sold
the account?
Or merged it, yes.
Oh, they merged banks?
Yes.
Not the account. They merged your bank.
They said that they transferred some of their accounts to BBVA Compass. And then I pursued them ever since. But I also got several other places involved: the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Better Business Bureau, the FDIC, the news, the Channel 5 News. And then I was finally told after a while that I wasn't even the legal owner and that they couldn't give me any more information.
Okay. Did you ultimately get information as to what happened with that account?
I did, about 4 months ago.
May I see it, please?
That's their statement.
Ms. Friedman, you closed this account shortly after it was opened?
Your Honor, I don't remember closing the account, but if I did it because she requested me to.
This is either you don't remember. That's not what you said in your answer, that you don't remember. The account was closed before its maturity. No information about the account being closed?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
So, to the best of your recollection, you never took money out of this account?
Your Honor, I really don't remember if I closed the account or not. I mean, if I did, it was because she asked me to.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. It's not as if I did. This doesn't indicate who closed the account.
Well, that's when she originally asked me about it. I thought maybe the bank did do something with her CD because I didn't remember closing the CD or taking the money out, and she doesn't remember it.
Do you have any proof that your mother closed this account?
I have emails from the news to the bank because I had a lot of trouble communicating with the bank, and the news helped me out. I have information saying that I'm not the legal owner, and it was closed by the legal owner, and that there's only 2 people on the account.
Yeah, that's what she has.
The top are emails that the bank, the news sent me that were between my mom and the news, and then behind it is the ones from BBVA.
Just a second. Okay, so this is clear. The mother is saying exactly what she said to me. She said, here, she doesn't remember closing this account, and you don't remember closing the account. Now I'm going to read the rest. The news speculating when she says this may be a family matter. It could also be a bank fraud matter. Possible, right?
Yeah, I believe that up until they sent me that purged document a few months back.
Well, you mean this one that you gave me already?
Uh-huh. The second page is the one that they said is the last final record they have of it, and it's because it was closed, and it's been 7 years since closure.
I understand that. She says she doesn't remember ever taking money out of this bank for you. I just have a couple of questions for you, because I don't think that there's any proof that your mother closed this account any more than I think there's any proof that you closed the account and forgot, perhaps, 10 years ago. Just for my own information, you went to school, you went to college?
Mm-hmm.
Who paid for your college?
I did.
Okay, did your parents help you at all?
Not with college money. I got some grant for school. I went to a community...
I'm just asking you whether your parents helped you at all for college.
No, ma'am.
With living expenses or anything else? I'm just trying to understand what the family dynamic is that you would think that your mother purposely stole from you.
Well, I wanted to move out around 17. I wanted to, I guess, emancipate or move out, and I couldn't. They told me that I had to graduate. Well, I graduated at 18, pretty much, within a few months.
So you
and I moved out immediately.
Just a second. You wanted to emancipate when you were 17?
I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things, and I think I just wanted to
Like what?
Things you do in high school, hang out with friends and go to activities and things. I felt like I was a little sheltered and I just wanted out. I was working, I had a vehicle, I wanted to live. And so we weren't getting along.
Did you have a boyfriend?
Yeah, probably. Off and on.
Well, I'm talking about when you were 17 and 18.
Yes.
Now, when you left the house at 18, did you move into a place alone or with a boyfriend?
I moved in with a boyfriend in a roommate situation.
Okay, fine. Miss Kane, I would love to be able to help you, but I don't have enough evidence to suggest that your mother closed this account and the account contained money, according to you, that was your money gathered from your work. Now, she doesn't have any recollection of closing the account, and you don't have any recollection of closing the account at probably a volatile time in your life.
Yeah, I moved away and actually never came back to Crowley. I moved to Keller first and then on to some other areas.
But when you moved out when you turned 18, that was your plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was your plan to move in with your boyfriend.
I moved in with my grandmother for maybe a year or more before I moved in with him.
But that was your plan to leave the house.
Yes.
And you didn't. You turned 18, you became a legal owner of the account. You were, in fact, a legal owner of the account. You were no longer a minor, you were a legal owner. So when they say that the account was closed, then the bank says that the account was closed by a legal owner, I don't know who that is. And you can't prove that it was your mom.
And only her name is on the closure document and not mine. And it says the amount and it says the date closed, and I was not even in town that date.
It's just a short, her identification number is here. She may have been primary on the account. She may have been primary because you were a minor.
Right, and I heard it stays that way. I'm learning things as I was researching through the bank. If you don't change it, does it not just stay as a minor situation, or unless you go and have the bank
No, because they list your date of birth. They have your date of birth when you open up the CD. Anyway, Miss Kane, it's when what? Okay.
I just wanted to add that her mother...
You're her husband?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
She says she doesn't remember a lot, but yet in some of her replies, she's indicating that, well, it's possible I took it out to help you and so, but this, that. So it's very vivid, wording as to someone with no memory.
No, what she said is, it's possible that ever, car insurance or whatever, I might have taken the money out. I don't remember whether I did or not. It's also possible that when your wife, Mr. Kane, wanted to emancipate herself when she was 17 and was forced to wait until she was 18 and still a kid, took what she could from the bank, and now she was 18 and she can take the money out of the bank as well. And it's possible, and it's also possible, Mr. Kane, that when the bank merged with one bank for another and some of the accounts were sent someplace else, something happened with what we call sort of dead accounts that nobody's had any activity on for a while. The bottom line is, courts can't guess when they call somebody, in effect, a thief. And I'm not prepared to do that without proof.
To our best understanding, even with her turning 18, she wasn't still allowed to take it out without the joint agreement. She was still nothing changed
Listen
after...
to me. What you're telling me now is information that you may or may not have garnered from third parties, which is hearsay, because you're not in the banking business, are you?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. And I would make this suggestion to you. I hope that you and your wife stay married for a very long time. But she only has one mother. She can have a whole lot of Mr. Canes. And I suggest you keep out of it. Keep out of it and don't stoke it. Do you understand? I wouldn't stoke it because, it's a terrible thing for a child to allege that a parent is a thief. Stole my own money and I didn't know about it. That's a terrible thing. She may believe it. There's no proof of it. Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I work at the college.
And you've worked there for a while?
Off and on. I worked for 4 years while I was going to school, and then I stopped, and then I went back to work.
Prior to this business with the CD, had you enjoyed a reasonable relationship with your daughter?
Yes. We were talking until she said she found out that my signature was on the closing papers, and...
Her signature's not on the closing papers.
They wouldn't give me any signatures because they said that they didn't have anything.
Just a second. That's the bank's problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
She was your girlfriend.
She was.
And she was ill.
Yep.
And you were taking care of her.
Yes.
And she was taking care of you when she was able. Because her defense to your action is that that's what people do when they're living together. Were you living together with her as a couple?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Kane says her mother, Susan Freeman, stole.
It's the bank's problem. They may not have things because they were sloppy in the transfer. But if you had a reasonable relationship with your mom and you're married, you're almost 30 years old, right? I would not want to believe anything negative about my parents. I wouldn't. I can't suggest to you that you modify the way you're thinking, but I'm telling you that based upon what you showed me, there is insufficient proof for me to find that your mother took the money out of the bank. Okay, we're done. Thank you.
Ladies, excuse me, step out.
It hurts. It hurts a lot. I have 4 daughters, and she's the oldest, and I've done everything I could for my children.
I didn't believe it. I still don't want to believe it.
And I'm still doing things for my children today, and I guess I'll continue.
But I just wanted to know what happened to the account.
Oh, it's hurted a lot.
I still never found out what happened to my account.
I've done everything to help her up until then, and since then, and I didn't deserve this.
Bank error is what it sounds like. Collect $200.
I hope she has a very happy marriage and
that we get along.
Time to move on.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Berenbaum versus Adams. Step forward.
Robert Berenbaum is suing his ex-girlfriend, Stacy Adams, for loans to put a down payment on expenses.
Mr. Berenbaum, according to your complaint, Miss Adams was your girlfriend. She lived in your apartment, your house. Is it a house or an apartment?
House.
House. For a period of time, she's no longer your girlfriend, and you claim she owes you money for a car deposit and for some rent. Miss Adams says that there was a rental arrangement when she moved in, that she agreed to pay you $750 a month. Is that how much the rent was?
That is correct.
$750 a month. You moved in December?
I moved in the end of November. December 1st was the first payment.
So December 1st, she gave you $750, correct?
It was $700.
Say $700. And you accepted the $700.
Yeah.
Great. And January, she also paid you $700.
I don't think so. She got sick in January.
Well, let me see. She moved in December. We agreed on $750 a month. Right. That's what you say. Not long after she moved in, she ended up having some surgery. When was your surgery?
My first was emergency surgery. They had to remove my gallbladder and repair an internal hernia.
When?
It was January 15th.
So you didn't work in January?
I did not work for 8 weeks in January into February.
Okay, so did you pay January and February?
Yes, Your Honor.
From
I get paid every end of the month. January and February. March, April, I did not pay.
And that's because you were out?
Yes, and I had
surgery.
2 surgeries in that time.
Okay, and you acknowledge that she had 2 surgeries?
Yeah, she did. But
Right.
she didn't pay me what she claims. She only paid me twice for rent for December, and I have 1 check for February.
Okay, great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We don't have the same rules with people who live together, and when things don't go right, the courts are going to occupy their time with litigation over vitamins. It's not going to happen.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Robert Berenbaum says ex-girlfriend Stacy Adams owes for several loans.
Now, she was your girlfriend.
She was.
And she was ill.
Yep.
And that's why she wasn't working. Otherwise,
Right.
she was working, right?
Correct.
And you were taking care of her.
Yes.
And she was taking care of you when she was able.
Yeah, when she was able.
Mm-hmm. And then there's some nonsense here about a down payment for a car. When was that?
It's not nonsense.
When
it
was
was in, I think it was in December. No, actually, I can tell you the exact date. It was a loan.
November 2nd.
2015.
Mm-hmm. A year ago. Now, when she moved in December and she paid you, according to you, $700, did you ask her about the November loan?
Yeah, I asked. She didn't get paid all summer because that's the way her work
Well, we're
structured
not
it.
talking about during the summer. We're talking November. November 2nd is when you gave her $1,100 towards the down payment.
She only got paid monthly. She didn't have the funds. She said she'd pay me back when she could.
Okay. Well, she can't. Because her defense to your action of these rent payments after her surgery and this year-old $1,100 is that that's what people do when they're living together as a couple. Were you living together with her as a couple?
We were, but we had a rent agreement.
Yeah, that's fine. Anything else you want to tell me?
Me in particular? Yeah,
just you. I'm not asking for any questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, there was a bunch of loans made during that time for living expenses. I have them all outlined here. She paid for the DMV for $650. I have like vitamins and Amazon for $418, surgery for $225.
Mr. Birnbaum, have you ever been married, sir?
I have.
And you divorced, I assume?
Yes.
You went to court? When you got divorced, did you go to court?
I did, but it was tough.
It was an uncontested divorce?
Yeah.
Was that in what state?
Texas.
Did you have to divide property?
Mm-hmm.
And there were rules in Texas about dividing property with a spouse, I assume.
Yes.
Whatever they were. Either it's an equitable distribution or it's community property, whatever it was, you know what the parameters are. Do you understand? Unfortunately, we don't have the same rules with people who are housekeeping together. And we don't have courts that can indulge people who live together, and when things don't go right, the courts are going to occupy their time with litigation over vitamins. It's not going to happen.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, if things had worked out between the two of you, and she had her surgery, and then she went back to work, and then she could only work part-time, but everything was okay, we wouldn't be standing here. Things didn't work out, and all of a sudden, you and I are talking about vitamins.
I mean, she agreed to pay it all back. She wrote out the debt she owed me.
Good. Very good. Then she should absolutely pay that back. But we are in a...
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
I moved in November. I agreed to pay him rent for my living, and that included utilities.
She started paying rent, and then she got sick, so...
And when I got sick, I wasn't able to pay.
She just stopped responding to me.
It was harassment. He was like a Jekyll and Hyde.
So I didn't get the impression that she was going to pay me back at any time soon.
There was a moment where he was nice and I'd help you, and the next moment it was like, hey, you get out of my house.
And I don't think she purposely took advantage of me, but she just didn't get a chance maybe to pay me back. I don't know if she was going to. I just felt like it was never going to happen.
Really understand who a person is before I start dating them and living with them.
I guess don't give people money for whatever reason.
I'm happy it's over.
You were doing some work for Mr. Hill in pool maintenance.
An employee drowning in controversy.
He had talked to my ex-wife. She told him that I had been stealing his customers.
But will his firing...
He wanted his keys. I said, I want my check.
You were owed some money.
Yes.
Sink this business owner.
I gave him the check for $15.70 because he was holding the keys hostage.
Wouldn't push it.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Pool technician David Ditzler is suing his former employer, John Hill, for unpaid wages.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 191 on the calendar in the matter of Ditzler versus Hill.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Ditzler, you were doing some work for a period of time for Mr. Hill in pool maintenance.
Correct.
How many years did you work?
6 years.
Did you work for him as an independent contractor, or were you a paid employee?
Independent contractor.
Were you paid by check or cash?
Personal check.
What does that mean, personal check?
It wasn't a payroll check where he took taxes out.
Filed tax returns every year?
I did, yes.
Did you report all this money?
Yes.
How much money did you earn, let's say, in 2015?
Approximately $32,000.
And did Mr. Hill give you $32,000 in checks?
Approximately, yes.
Did you do any other work in, say, 2015, other than work for Mr. Hill?
I buy and sell various items at auctions and online, and I sell them on.
So, based upon what I'm reading, somebody is going through a divorce. Who is that?
Mr. Hill did.
What about you?
17 years ago.
Do you have children?
My son's 18.
Was Mr. Hill ever contacted by your former wife?
I believe so, yes.
Recently?
According to Mr. Hill, yes.
To find out, I assume, what your wages were, what you were getting paid.
Yes.
Is that because you were in arrears on payment of either child support or alimony?
No, Your Honor, she wanted to increase the rate of child support. At the current time, I owe.
At the current time, you owe?
I owe $800.
But she had gone back to court for an increase?
Correct.
When was that?
Mid-May or early June. I don't know exactly.
It is your claim in this proceeding that Mr. Hill owes you for some back wages. You and Mr. Hill did, in fact, part company. In what month?
It was May 2nd. I'm sorry, May 3rd, 2016.
Around the same time your former wife contacted him?
Correct.
And at that time, you were owed some money?
Yes.
My reading of this is that you went in and that you went into his office. He let you go. He owed you some money, and you wanted the keys back.
That's correct. He had keys.
He had keys for all of the houses that he serviced, or the outside of the property that he serviced for your company. 20 keys?
40 or more.
40 or more.
Yeah.
You wanted the keys. He wanted his salary.
Correct.
His income. Can you tell me, you have a pool maintenance company?
Yes, ma'am.
How many employees do you have?
2.
And what's the name of your company?
Neighborhood Pool Service.
Do you pay them a straight check, or do you take withholding?
They're contracted. It's 1099.
And you 1099 Mr. Ditzler as well?
Correct.
Your Honor, I've never received a 1099 from Mr. Hill in 6 years. So I guess he made...
I got it.
Go ahead.
I got it. You gave him the keys, and he gave you the 2 checks. And when you went to the bank to cash the 2 checks, he had stopped payment on the checks.
Well, we met. It wasn't in his office. We met every Tuesday and Thursday to get supplies. He supplied the material. So I met on the Tuesday morning after I had worked 3/4 of the day. He met me, told me he had talked to my ex-wife. She told him that I had been stealing his customers and his chemicals. He wanted his supplies and his tools, and he unloaded his tools personally out of my truck, put them in his truck. He wanted his keys. I said, I want my check. And he didn't want to do it. We went back and forth for a second on a little street in Beverly Hills. And he finally agreed to give me a check in exchange for the keys. I immediately went to the bank, and within 10 minutes I was in Studio City, and I went to cash the check, and they had called him on the phone, and that I was supposed to be having that check in hand. I wanted to cash the check from his branch, so they wanted to verify that he gave me the check.
I see. You didn't want to put it in your bank?
No.
You wanted to make sure it got cashed?
Yeah.
How much was the check for?
That check was for $1,570. $1,570.
And you accepted that in payment of your wages?
Yes. And I had another check that had just deposited 2 days prior for $900. It was in my bank.
That you had posited that he gave you?
The week prior.
And that?
Then I realized 2 days after the other check was no good that he stopped payment on that check in addition, which made my account overdrawn and I was charged fees.
Okay, Mr. Hill, it's on you.
Essentially what happened was I was contacted by his ex-wife. She was looking for
I don't care what I don't care what she said to you.
Okay.
Actually, I don't care.
She informed me that...
No, listen to me. That's hearsay, and you can't tell me what she said to you.
Okay.
Do you understand? All I want to know is you gave him 2 checks, $1,570 and $900. And you canceled
I gave him the
those...
check for $1,570 because he was holding the keys hostage. At the time of our conversation, I asked him, did you take the Levy account? And he told me, yes, I did. I'm servicing it, and it's just one account. You shouldn't worry about that. I discussed it with him and said, you know, we have an agreement, this signed contract right here, that states you won't solicit or take a cash fee.
Just a second. Can I see it, please? Well, I don't understand. This says it's dated August 31st, 2010, and he promises not to solicit anybody...
During the course of employment or after
just a second.
dismissal?
No, I'm reading it. It says, and it's dated August 31st, 2010, and it says that plaintiff, acting as an independent pool person, acknowledge that I'm responsible for my own income taxes. I promise not to solicit any pools that John Hill Neighborhood Pool Service has on service for a period of 5 years. And then it says, I, David Ditzler, acknowledge that if pools are solicited anytime prior to June of 2021.
Well, it was open-ended. That was put on there after his dismissal. That part was open, and then we put that in at the time of dismissal as people leave, because people leave at different times. But he signed it and left it.
You put this in.
The date.
Just a second. This was signed by him in 2010.
Correct.
It's a poorly written contract.
I recognize that now.
You understand that now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I just want you to recognize that.
I do.
And since you drafted the contract strenuously against you, because you were the one who drafted it. And what this says is, dated 2010, that he can't service any of your clients for 5 years. It doesn't say, in addition thereto, we will place the date of his dismissal.
I know.
You understand?
I do.
Now you understand.
Yeah,
okay, so you owe him
I see the error there.
Right. There was an error there.
Yeah.
Great. You owe him $2,470, because that's the amount of the two checks
Your
that
Honor?
you gave him. Listen to me. That's the amount of the two checks that he
But
gave
there was
you.
2 days that was supposed to be paid on the 1st, May 1st. I worked May 2nd and May 3rd. We met on May 3rd.
Listen to me, sir. The fact that Mr. Hill got snookered by not having a well-crafted non-compete doesn't mean that you did what you knew you were supposed not to do by taking his client. I wouldn't push it if I were you. Do you understand?
I understand, but I didn't take
Great.
clients.
Well, you did. He asked you if you were servicing Levy account, and you said yes, but it's just one account.
I've never said that.
Are you servicing that account? Very easy to find out.
No, I'm not.
Did you ever?
No, with Mr. Hill, yes. When I was contracted with Mr. Hill under his pay.
You never received any pay independently of his from, I guess, I just picked up the phone. You work here, right?
No, for about maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks is too much. Now you understand?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How can you prove to me that it was yours?
I guess I can't physically say you didn't throw it in the pool, you took it home and sold it, but it's online, and, you know, it looks like a duck, walks like a duck. It's going to be a duck.
You're absolutely right.
And later today,
All I see is that you made a $5,000 profit. Those are the numbers. You're not losing. Why would you want to say anything?
It's just, I never got any of that
Just a
information.
second. You're not losing. Why would you want to say anything to me?
Okay.
I mean, are you stupid?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Pool technician David Ditzler says former employer John Hill owes for wages. John is countersuing for stolen property and stolen pool accounts.
Now, what kind of property can you prove that the plaintiff stole from you?
Chlorine tablets, trichlor, buckets that are being sold online.
But how can you prove to me that it was yours?
Well, when you sell a bucket of trichlor for $90 at wholesales for $115, and he's taking it and using it, I guess I can't physically say you didn't throw it in the pool, you took it home and sold it, but it's online, and, you know, it looks... There's diverter valves.
Right.
There was a cleaner that was removed from one of my clients' homes worth $400.
Well, I don't know that. And you don't know that, because you don't have anybody here. But I'm actually interested in the container that you just told me about. You have proof that he sold a container of something.
Multiple containers on several occasions.
I'd like to see it.
Is there printouts of that?
Yeah. Because if it wholesales, and then you're going to show me what it wholesales for. Chlorine tabs, 50-pound bucket, $90. Okay. And you've sold that online. This is from your online business.
Many others.
Just a second. Can you tell me where you got this from?
In 2000, I believe it was 14, there was a pool man in Burbank that I knew. And he had a heart attack. He came ill, and I bought everything he had. He had drill presses, air compressors, pool equipment, and all of his chemicals he had left. And I bought it at that time. In fact, I even told Mr. Hill. He had pool fences. He had all kinds of various items.
You know, Mr. Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe a duck, but I'm not so sure that you can reach your threshold of evidence unless you have something else to show me.
The only thing I could show you is the true cost of that stuff. I don't have any solid proof of where Mr. Ditchler received his stuff from, but
I don't necessarily disagree with you. The whole lot of this guy's stuff in 2014, and he was selling it off piecemeal. That doesn't mean that I necessarily believe him. However, it's a question of proof that at this point I don't think that you can support. Now, if you had somebody who allegedly told you that he was taking property of yours, that person may have known something, so that maybe if I had that person as a witness.
But you just told me I couldn't.
You couldn't, but you could have had a witness here.
I tried like heck to get her to come.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $24.70. We're finished. Thank you.
Why did you excuse me? Step back.
Sometimes things just don't work out quite the way they're supposed to.
I think she was fair.
He's dishonest.
I didn't steal any of his customers.
Clients told me what he was doing. He was soliciting them.
Why would his customers fire him and want to hire me?
Lesson learned.
Just don't work for a con.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of McDonald versus Musgrove. Step forward.
Janessa McDonald is suing her ex-boyfriend, Jesse Musgrove, for truck payments, insurance fees, and repairs.
I'm going to start with you, Mr. Musgrove. The plaintiff was your girlfriend for a period of time.
Correct.
And at some point in the relationship, you had a car, truck. Was it an SUV?
It was a truck.
When was it purchased?
We purchased it in October of 2014.
Miss McDonald co-signed for it.
She did.
And that was in 2014.
Yes.
At some point, did she refinance both her car and your truck?
She did. That was after we had broken up, and I was not aware of her doing it. She just went and did it on her own.
In what year did you refinance the car and the truck?
Your Honor, we purchased the car together September 25th.
I don't care about the car. Okay, I'm only talking about the truck.
Okay, it was refinanced. We were still together at the time. We were making plans, so.
What month and year was it refinanced?
It was refinanced June 2nd of 2015.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you. You made the payments on the truck.
I did. All of the payments.
At some point you broke up. Do you remember when that was?
It was around June 2015.
So at about the time she refinanced the truck?
Yeah.
And you took the truck with you?
I did. And I continued to make the payments.
Just a second, and you continued to make the payments on it? Until when?
I made payments until January 2016. When she asked for the truck back.
And was there still a loan on the truck at that time?
There was still amount due, and I was still making the payments.
Now, you took back the truck in January?
That's not correct.
In what month did you take it?
At the end of February. February 28th.
Just a minute.
It was January.
Just a second. And at some point you sold the truck. The truck was in both of your names.
Yes.
So you signed off on the bill of sale?
For the original, that was in both of our names, but not for her to refinance the truck or sell the truck.
When you refinanced the truck, did you refinance the truck and it was in solely your name?
Yes, I asked him.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
So that would be a yes?
Yes.
So you refinanced the truck, and the truck that had been owned by you two jointly is now solely your property?
Yes, Your Honor. May I say something? We were still in a relationship.
Okay, it's very close.
It is very
It's
close.
very close.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You refinanced the truck and broke up in the same month. That's very coincidental. It's your truck. If you sold it at a loss, that's it. The courts can't help you.
Even if I have text messages saying that he...
Absolutely. You can have a constitution.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Janessa McDonald says ex-boyfriend Jesse Musgrove owes for a truck they purchased as a couple.
Now, you sold the truck.
Yes.
And you sold the truck, according to you, for $10,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And the outstanding loan on the truck was about $2,600. And you say that the truck needed repairs even before it could be sold.
Yes, Your Honor.
Another $2,500. So that's $5,100.
It was a little less than $2,500, Your Honor, but close.
Great, so say $5,000.
Yes.
And you sold the truck for $10,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you... Shh. So you made a profit of $5,000.
No, Your Honor.
Well, if you sold it for $10,000 and there was $2,500 left on the loan and $2,500 for repairs, $5,000. Those are rough numbers. And you sold it for $10,000, then you made $5,000.
The loan was for $25 and change, so I paid that $2,500 there.
Just a second. You said you sold it for $10,000. You paid $25,000 to pay off the loan, and I'm doing rough numbers for you, and $25 to fix it. That leaves you a $5,000 profit on your truck.
I had no profit.
Well, you certainly don't have a lawsuit against the defendant for a whole host of reasons. One, you refinanced the truck and took it out of his name. It becomes your sole property. You could do whatever you want with your sole property. You want him to pay for the repairs, for car payments that you made, for insurance that you made. All I see is that you made a $5,000 profit. Those are the numbers. You're not losing. Why would you want to say it? You're not losing. Why would you want to say anything to me?
I just wanted to point out. Okay.
I mean, are you stupid?
All right. I'm not stupid.
I just said to her, she made a profit. You have no case against him for two reasons. One, because you made a profit, and two, because you refinanced the truck in your name. So it was your property. So why would you want to say anything?
I don't.
Great.
No longer.
Your Honor, I did not make a profit. I'm failing to see where you see I made a profit.
Well, if you sold the truck
to pay off the loan.
No, the loan was, according to you, was $2,500.
No, ma'am. The payoff was $12,543.
Oh. Okay, well, that's not what it says in your complaint.
That was what the truck was upside down, because I sold it for $10,000, but the payoff was $12,543.
You sold your truck.
The truck that we purchased together.
I don't care.
And that he was driving the whole entire time.
It matters not.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you refinanced the truck and you took it out of his name and put it in your name. You did that all on your own. I assume you gave him no input into any of the repairs that you did on the truck because it was solely your truck.
Your Honor, he told me that he was not working. He was living out of the truck, and the truck was non-operable. He had drove it to the point where it cannot be driven. So in order to sell it, I had to make the repairs.
Your truck.
And I have text messages from him.
Just a second. Your truck. You're not a married couple. There's no equitable distribution. There's no community property. You took the truck out of his name. You assumed all of the responsibility for it when you refinanced it. If you let him use the truck for 3 months or 2 months or 5 months, that's your right. But according to both of you, you refinanced the truck and broke up in the same month. That's very coincidental. It's your problem. It's your truck. If you sold it at a loss, that's it. The courts can't help you. It's your property.
Even if I have text messages saying that he
Absolutely. You can have a constitution. Goodbye. This case is over.
You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He didn't follow through, so of course I'm disappointed.
When she talks about payments, I was making the only payments, so.
He was living in the truck. He was out without residence.
I was not living out of the truck. I think it's just a little character slander.
It's unfortunate. I want the best for him.
I wish her the best and happy to move on.
You paid the 2 months' rent to leave early.
A broken lease leaves roommates battling.
When did you move out of the apartment?
I didn't move out. I'm still there.
You're still there?
Yes.
She hasn't paid rent in 5 months. That's $3,000.
But this stingy tenant won't budge.
So you last paid rent in May, so you're a squatter.
Mm-hmm.
Has the landlord moved to evict you?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Brian Wu is suing his former roommate, Marta Suarez, for unpaid rent and car repairs.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 207 on the calendar, the matter of Wu versus Suarez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Wu, the defendant was your roommate.
Yes.
Along with, this is your fiance?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you become roommates?
We became roommates on September 6, 2015. That's when we signed a lease agreement.
And was your fiance a friend of the defendant's? Is that how you met?
They were
Is that
co-worker.
correct? Where did they work?
They were understanding it's a talent agency.
What do they do?
They were the talent directors. So they interview kids and put him into programs.
And the three of you signed a lease.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what this case is about. Each of you claim that the other is responsible for breaking the lease. You both want money from each other. You also claim that Ms. Suarez is responsible for some damage to your car that took place when you had loaned your car to your fiance. And she says Ms. Suarez was driving the car with her permission. But an accident or damage took place, and a whole bunch of other nonsense. So you moved in September 6th, 2015. Your lease is up now. When did you move out?
We move out June 5th, where we officially turn in the key. We move out a couple days prior, June 3rd.
Do you have a copy of your lease?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. You had a month's rent and a month's security.
Yes, we paid the security of $600. Our monthly rent was $2,470.61.
So you moved out about 2 months before your lease was up.
A few months, yes, to be exact.
Okay, so of course you lost your month's security. Okay, and how much money? You have a canceled check to the landlord?
Yes.
I'd like to see the canceled check to the landlord because you say it cost you a whole lot of money to get left a couple of months before.
That was a check for lease cancellation. It was a cashier check made to them.
Just a second. Okay, so you paid the 2 months' rent, which is really what you paid to leave early. Where did you go? And you want her to be responsible for that.
Right. We end up having to stay at Purple's relative's place.
Okay, so you went to your fiance's relatives. Is that where you still are?
Yes.
And is your fiancé still working at the same agency as the defendant?
No.
When did she leave that agency?
February of 2016.
And where is she working now?
She's currently unemployed due to her pregnancy. Yeah.
Well, she wasn't pregnant in February.
No.
Oh, no, she wasn't.
Why did she leave work in February?
Their work had a workforce downsizing, so she was let go.
Let go.
Yeah.
And she didn't get another job after that.
She did. So afterwards, she went to work for Posh PR as an intern. They were a clothing agency, and Marta later on was employed there as the main sales rep. So that's when they went on the trip to San Francisco.
Listen,
sorry.
That's more information than I needed.
Sure.
I just asked you she went to work someplace else after February. Until when?
Until, I would say, May. When May happens, that's when she started work.
The apartment.
I didn't move out. I'm still there.
You're still there?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. And when did you last pay rent?
When they left me.
No. When did you last pay rent in the apartment, Miss Suarez?
Okay.
I can call the landlord and find out. Why don't you tell me?
Yes.
Give me the month that you last paid rent.
Okay, the last month was May.
Okay, so you last paid rent in May, so you're a squatter. Yeah, good. Just a second.
That's not true.
Just for my own information, before I figure out how much you owe them, I would like you to tell me why you think you're entitled to live someplace without paying rent.
Why they left me?
No, why you think that you're entitled to live someplace without paying rent.
Without paying rent? No.
Any rent.
I offer myself to pay my part that we sign a lease, all three together.
No, just listen to me. Pay careful attention to me. I want to know when was the last month you paid any rent to the landlord?
April.
Was that in April?
In April.
Was the last...
April, May. Because we are due from June.
Would you explain to me why? The last time you paid rent in April, that's May, June, July, August, and now we're 5 months later and you haven't paid any rent to the landlord.
The last time was May.
That's what I'm asking you. Well, why are
May. Yeah.
My question is, and if I'm not going to ask it again,
the thing is like
I'm not going to ask it again.
Yeah.
Why do you think you are entitled to live someplace without paying rent?
I'm not paying rent because they left me the apartment.
Okay.
And they left me with another 2 parts. When I cannot afford it...
You have to pay something in rent.
Yes, and I want to pay my part. That's why I'm here today.
Just a second.
I want to pay part of my rent.
Well,
my part, not their part.
Very good. You're going to pay it to them. How much was your part of the rent that you were supposed to pay?
My part, it was $600.
$600?
Yes.
Just a second. Is that correct?
That is correct.
$600. And she hasn't paid rent in 5 months. That's $3,000 so far. Now, you got out of the lease, correct? And you paid a total of $46.31, which means that $46.31 31 less $3,000, which she actually owes you, $1,631 so far on the rent. Now, the next thing I want to know from you is about the car.
Okay.
Very quickly, you weren't present when the car was damaged.
No.
Okay. You were present when the car was damaged?
No, Your Honor.
Nobody was
I didn't.
present when the car was damaged. She says she wasn't present when the car was... Has the landlord moved to evict you?
Yes.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Of course. Or do you think that I'm living there for free?
Something wrong with you. There are
You're
lots
gonna
of
ask me
employers out there.
everything.
They better
Of course,
listen to this reasoning, okay? So far, all you paid was like $1,600 to get out of the lease, because I'm going to give you $3,000 from her.
Thank you, ma'am.
She's got to pay rent to somebody.
Right.
Might as well be to you.
Thank you.
Great. Now, you want to tell me how the car got damaged? Your fiancé loaned you the car. You and the defendant went on a trip.
Yes, we went
Pick it up from there.
We went to San Francisco, and then on our way back, I was feeling really sick already because of my pregnancy. So she took the car with the merchandise to Posh PR, where we used to intern, and she was a sales rep. Now, she called telling me that the car was hit and even sent me a photo through text.
I'd like to see it.
This was the quote. This is my...
Well, it seems clear that a car hit the car, right?
Right. I
called us, and then she said it was hit and that she was willing to pay for the damages.
Well, show me where she said she was willing to pay for the damage.
It was during a phone conversation right after.
Why would she say she was willing to pay for the damage if someone hit the car?
In the phone, she said, "Don't worry about it. I got this guy. I think is Juan."
I don't believe a word you're saying to me.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay.
Great.
At the time, I was also thinking about calling my own insurance to get it fixed. But then again, you know, since she said she was going to fix it, so I thought it's either I report to my insurance, raise that $1,000.
I don't care.
Okay.
Anything else you have to tell me? Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000 for the rent. Your counterclaims dismissed. We're done.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Police were involved. They were called due to one of her drunken rage.
Oh, they are so funny. Yeah.
And we had to file a restraining order. But
it was a case that was denied.
Because the mix-up from the apartment properties.
And they don't want to pay rent. They want to leave me with everything.
We weren't able to get out of our lease.
And they still over other things.
At the time, you know, with that restraining order. But it all turns out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Compton versus Pryor. Step forward.
20. Mandy Pryor for vet bills after Mandy's pit bull attacked her chihuahua.
Ms. Crumpton, it is your claim that your dog was injured by the defendant's dog.
Yes,
your dog
ma'am.
was a leashed pet being walked at the time by, I assume, this young lady who was your daughter. Ms. Pryor's claim is that while your dog was being walked by your dog actually ran into her apartment. And her dog, being a protective dog, got into a confrontation. But it was your dog that was on her premises. We'll see. Could you stand up, please? Tell me your name.
Kalia.
Why don't you come up here so I can hear you better and see you better? You look too little over there. And you sit next to me while I ask your mom some questions, okay?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Now, when Snickers came over to you, tell me what happened with Hennessy.
He took him and ripped him off his leash and then started shaking him like right here, and my mom ran down the stairs, and that's when he finally let go.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Caitlin Compton says neighbor Mandy Pryor owes for vet bills after Mandy's pit bull attacked
your dog. And what kind of dog is it?
He's a purebred Chihuahua, and I've had him for 6.5 years.
How much does he weigh?
About 13 pounds.
Well, that's a healthy Chihuahua.
Well, he's a little overweight. He's a personal vacuum. We have a 3-year-old, so he gets his fair share.
And you're allowed to walk the dog. What's the dog's name?
Hennessy.
How long have you been walking Hennessy?
When I just turned 8, I was allowed to walk the dog.
And when did you turn 8?
I turned 8 in April.
And Ms. Compton, could you tell me when this incident happened with the defendant's dog?
Yeah, it was actually on June 11th at about 11:45. We were getting ready for my...
Just a minute. So you'd been walking the dog for a while, for several months. And when you walk Hennessy, you walk Hennessy with a leash, of course.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. Do you know Miss Pryor's dog?
Yes, it's a pit bull, and it has brown and white spots, and its name is Snickers.
Before June, you had seen Snickers, because you're neighbors, right? You live in the same complex?
Yeah.
When you see Snickers, is anybody with him?
No.
Where is he?
He's usually standing under the stairs, because they live under us, so he's usually standing, like, under the stairs.
By himself?
Yes.
Is he attached to a leash?
No.
Have you ever had trouble with Snickers before?
Not really, but sometimes, like, when we walk up the stairs and stuff like that.
Okay, so Miss Pryor lives in the apartment right below yours?
Mm-hmm.
And did you see this incident happen?
I did. My window was like perfect view, and so I was watching from my couch out the window the whole time. I actually have pictures where I was at when I was watching out the window and how far it is from my door.
Okay, can you walk over there and show me where you were standing, where your house is?
Mm-hmm. I was standing right here, and...
You can move on the other side and use your other hand so that I can see you, because you're sort of blocking the view. That a girl. So show me where your house is. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
And show me where you were walking Hennessy. Is that grass?
Yes.
And can you show me where you were with Hennessy when Snickers came out and met you?
I was right here.
And did you see Miss Pryor?
Yeah, she was sitting right here.
What was she sitting on?
She was sitting on the sidewalk.
And can you show me where Snickers usually sits when you say you see him sitting?
Behind the stairs.
Okay. So on this day in June, Miss Pryor was on the sidewalk and Snickers was with her at first.
No, she was sitting outside, and then he ran outside.
From where?
Their house.
So the door was open. Now with Hennessy.
I was standing there, and Snickers ran out of the house and like stared at him for a minute, and then he took him and ripped him off his leash and then started shaking him like right here, and then he got a better grip on him, and then my mom saw that Snickers was attacking him, and my mom ran down the stairs and lunged at Snickers, and that's when he finally let go.
At any time, did Hennessy go into Miss Pryor's house?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, sit down.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Does your dog have to wear a muzzle now?
Now she does, yeah.
And how much does your 2-year-old weigh?
35, 40 pounds.
This dog can do a lot of damage. I would be super careful.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Caitlin Compton says neighbor Mandy Pryor owes for vet bills after Mandy's pit bull attacked her chihuahua.
Now, when did you get this dog?
A couple of weeks before this happened.
Where did you get the dog from?
From this lady in the valley.
Did you buy it,
yeah.
the dog from her? How old is Snickers?
3.
3 years old. How much did you pay for the 3-year-old dog?
$20.
Did you have a discussion as to why she was getting rid of Snickers?
Yeah, she said that she got stuck with a different dog, and then she wanted to find Snickers a different home.
You have children?
I do.
You want to tell me your version of the events of that day?
Okay, well, I was sitting inside. Sorry.
Sitting inside?
I was sitting inside, and my dog was laying down by the TV. I opened my door to smoke a cigarette, and Hennessy ran in on an extender leash, and my dog chased him out and caught him just inside the door, and then they tussled over to the grass area that Kalia was talking about, and Snickers did pick him up and shake him, but I broke up the fight shortly after that.
Does your dog have to wear a muzzle now?
Now she does, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you really know nothing about this dog's 3-year history?
No.
Can I see your vet bills, please?
Yeah, of course. So, there's actually... Because I had to make payments, but they weren't able to put it like all total of what it was at the end of the day, but all the receipts are broken down to where it shows how much I paid each time I was there. And all of my invoices and everything, they're all in line.
The date of this incident was June 11th?
Yes, ma'am. And I had to take him up like every 2 days to get rebandaged.
you have any?
These are actually these are the only pictures I was able to get because he had 3 bandage changes before this one. This is the only one I was able to do at home myself to get pictures. And so they were actually way worse. There was one of the drain tubes that were removed or fell out in this picture.
How old are your children, Miss Pryor?
8, 7, 6, and 2.
How much does your 2-year-old weigh?
35, 40 pounds.
This dog can do a lot of damage. I'm just letting you know, you don't know the history of this 3-year-old pit bull. I would be super careful.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I don't believe you that the dog ran into your house. I want you to start with that premise. But even if it's true that the Chihuahua came to your door and came into your door, because I think that if you were smoking a cigarette...
I hadn't lit it yet.
Doesn't matter. I believe her when she says you were sitting outside smoking a cigarette and the door was open. That's what happened. You were sitting outside on the curb smoking a cigarette. The dog came running out. The dog grabbed a hold of their dog, and that I absolutely believe her daughter. And what I'm suggesting to you is, you know, sometimes you buy a puppy and it's a big dog and something happens with that dog that is unexpected. But when you buy a dog and you don't know the history of that dog and the dog can cause this kind of damage, I would be super careful. You still have the dog?
No.
What did you do with the dog?
I got rid of him to a gentleman who lives in Idaho.
When?
A month after this happened.
Have any problem in your house?
No.
There was no problem. So what made you get rid of the dog?
Because I was being harassed.
It's probably the same reason that the woman gave the dog to you. So, gotta be careful. But I'm glad, hopefully the dog found a home and a family where there were...
Acreage to run on. She got acreage to run on.
Good. Okay, you owe the plaintiff $800. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm actually just excited to get my money back, and you know, we've had to pay all the vet bills and everything. We just wanted to be reimbursed. That's all we really wanted to do.
Well, I don't think it's very fair. I told my side of the story. She just didn't believe me. Just not a lot I can do about it.
Thank goodness it wasn't my kids. Like, I was scared, like so petrified. Like, that's the only thing that I was thinking. Like, that's why I rushed.
My hands breaking them up.
You know, and I was actually the one that kind of like helped get, you know, my dog.
I slapped Snickers on the butt.
So if I wouldn't have like happened, it probably would have gotten a lot worse.
It's non-existent. We don't talk anymore.
He's way better. He's really skittish. It's kind of sad, like really sad.
I hope we can just get over it, go back to being neighborly.
He's scared of his own leash. So, but I mean, I'm just glad he's okay.
A driver's road rage takes a detour.
He followed me to the gas station and was getting ready to call the police, and he got out and rolled my window up really fast.
You say he revved up his car and tried to run you down.
Will he hit a dead end with the judge?
I would have reacted the same way you says he reacted.
By running someone down in a parking lot?
Sir, if there was a choice between hurting me and hurting you, you're getting it, not me.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Bo Shattuck and his mother Roxanne Merriman are suing motorist Todd Duplessis for kicking their car during an incident of road rage.
Order. All rise.
42 on the calendar in the matter of Shattuck, Merriman versus Duplessis. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Were you in the car?
No.
Sit. Thank you. You are?
I'm Bo Shattuck.
Okay. Duplessis.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Shattuck, it is your claim that the defendant, subsequent to what I consider a road rage incident, damaged your car by kicking it. Mr. Duplessis tells a different story, so I'm going to start with him.
Okay.
Mr. Duplessis, on what date did this incident happen?
Oh, I don't know the exact date. Hold on, ma'am. I have the police report right here. Looks like November 6, 2013.
What time, Mr. Duplessis?
It was about 11:30, quarter to 12.
Morning?
Morning, yes, ma'am.
Where were you going to or coming from?
I was coming from school, heading home for lunch break.
Whose school?
I'm a student at South Puget Sound Community College.
What else do you do?
I'm retired military.
Okay. Why don't you tell me what happened?
I was in the left-hand lane on Black Lake Boulevard.
How many lanes of traffic are there?
There's 2.
Go ahead.
Mr. Shattuck then approached in the right-hand lane at a high...
So he came up to you in the right-hand lane?
Yes, ma'am. It was me, and there was a little green Toyota in front of me. He pulled up next to the little green Toyota, then started to merge into that lane, pushing that green Toyota back, trying to get out of that traffic. He then slowed down and tried to do it to me. Unfortunately, I drive a Chevy Silverado. I'm not going to budge. At that moment, we were approaching a stoplight.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
So he was drifting over in front of the little green car.
Yes, ma'am.
And the little green car came back.
Yes, ma'am.
And then he was drifting over...
into my lane, next to me, trying to push me into opposing traffic.
What was he driving?
He was driving a little red Hyundai.
So he's driving a small car.
Yes, ma'am.
So he's trying to push a big Silverado...
Yes, ma'am.
...into the lane. How old are you?
I am 43.
Did you ever stop to think maybe there was something wrong with the driver?
Well,
no,
ma'am.
You didn't.
No.
You just thought that the little red Hyundai was trying to muscle over your Silverado.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then what happened?
We were approaching a stoplight at the intersection. The little green Toyota in front of me started to brake. All of a sudden, Mr. Shattuck sped up and cut right in front of the green Toyota, causing it to slam on its brakes, me to slam on its brakes, drove across 2 lanes of opposing traffic into a convenience store parking lot.
So he pulls in front of
the little
green
Toyota
car,
in front of me. Yes, ma'am.
Pulls in front of you into a convenience store gas station.
Yes, ma'am.
And stops.
He pulled in behind the pump. Yes, ma'am.
No, he didn't pull up at a pump, sir. He pulled up around the pump and just
yes, ma'am.
stayed
yes,
there.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's like I was there, right? So, just so that I'm perfectly clear, based upon what you tell me, the person in the little red Hyundai
yes, ma'am.
was driving erratically.
Yes, ma'am.
And had removed himself from at least your harm's way and came to a complete stop.
Yes, ma'am.
So you do what any other normal person would do when confronted by someone who is driving erratically, according to you, placing somebody else in danger. You follow them.
Yes, ma'am.
So you follow him, stopped your car.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you do what any other normal person would do who's not looking for a confrontation. You get out of your car. I'm really reading from your answer, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's your answer, not his complaint. It's your answer. You pull up to the person in the little red Hyundai, stop your car, get out of your car, and walk up to the Hyundai.
No, ma'am.
Oh, that's what you told me, sir. You said you got out of your car to walk up closer. The excuse you gave was, I wanted to see his license plate because I wanted to report him to the police that he was driving erratically. I'm saying just what you swore to, sir.
Yes, ma'am, but
just
I was 40 yards away from that vehicle.
Just what you swore to. You were 40 yards away?
Rough about that, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. On the 6th of November at about 11:30 in the morning?
I'd love to, Your Honor. I was headed down the street that we were speaking of, and I stopped at the light and noticed this big black truck in my rearview mirror flashing its lights, and I seen an arm waving out the window, and I was like, what happened, you know? So I was headed to the store, you know, and I was actually on my way to do a...
Just tell me, you were headed to the 7-Eleven store?
I was headed to the Texaco.
Did you need gas? Is that why you were pulling in?
Yes, Your Honor, yes.
Okay.
So as I was kept going, he would, you know, slow down a little bit and then, you know, accelerate right to my bumper and then let me get ahead a little bit and accelerate, flash his lights and stuff. And so I was kind of nervous, you know, and so when I pulled in the gas station, at this point, the reason for me pulling in the gas station has changed at that point. And he followed me into the gas station, and I was getting ready to call the police, and I seen him backing up. And there was, you know, because you get in the Texaco like this, and he stopped in front of me, so I couldn't really back up. And he got out, and I rolled my window up really fast, and I said, I'm calling the police, you know. Or no, pardon me, he kicked the car, came around and kicked my car, rolled my window up. I wasn't sure if he was going to kick the window or the car or what. So then he kicked the car really hard enough to the whole car rocked. So then I went back and indicated that I was going to call the police, and he backed up and waited for the police to show up.
Can I see pictures of your car?
Sure.
Also like to see... Now that, Mr. Duplessis, is where your stories diverge. Because according to you, you say that when you got out of your car, you were 40 yards away from him.
Yes, ma'am.
And he revved up his car and tried to run you down.
Yes, ma'am. It's actually in the police report.
I'm going to read the police report right now.
On page 3.
Shh, don't tell me, but
sorry,
don't
yes,
tell
ma'am.
me.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize.
I interviewed Duplessis first.
Yes, ma'am.
He told me that he had been driving northbound on Black Lake Boulevard when Shattuck's vehicle changed lanes quickly in front of him and slammed on the brakes.
Well, he abbreviated...
Don't tell me what he abbreviated. This is the interview. I'm reading from the reporting officer's narrative. You have a different one?
He abbreviated my statement, ma'am.
Just a second. I'm reading.
Yes, ma'am, I understand, but my statement on what I gave him the day when they investigated the incident explains the whole thing about the green vehicle in front of me and everything, ma'am.
I would like to take a look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
If this is the abbreviation, I want to see the original. Fine.
And I also have a copy of Mr. Shattuck's statement.
Would you show this to Mr. Duplessis, please? This is his sworn answer. I assume, Mr. Duplessis, that when you filled out that answer here, when you swore to it, you tried to be as honest with me as you could, because it's a sworn deposition, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like you to point anywhere in that deposition where you say you got out of the car to ask him why he was driving erratically.
It doesn't, ma'am.
It sure doesn't. It says you got out of the car to look at his license plates.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. It's not what you told the police. You told the police you got out of the car and approached his vehicle in order to ask him what he was doing and why he was driving that way.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. But he also falsified his statement, too, Your Honor.
I don't care, sir. Let me explain. Let me explain what your problem is, Mr. Duplessis.
Yes, ma'am.
You can either look for trouble or you can walk away from it. You chose to look for it.
Unfortunately, ma'am, I'm sorry.
You chose to look for it.
Yes, ma'am. I got a 17-year-old daughter on the road with people like him that are going to kill her, and I'm not going to allow that. Sorry, Your Honor.
I want to tell you something. I have 5 children and 13 grandchildren. That's the most ridiculous answer I ever heard.
Whatever, ma'am.
Most ridiculous answer, because you had your choice. You could have said goodbye.
No, ma'am. I can't do that.
Hey, well, you can't do that, and that's why you're here, and that's why you're in trouble, because you're a hothead. Because there was no reason why you had to get out of your car. You can do that while inside your car. You pick up the phone, I assume you have one, and you call the police and you say, there is somebody driving erratically, he's in a red Hyundai, and this is the license plate. You don't get out of the car.
I can answer that, Your Honor.
You're a hothead. You can't answer it. There's no answer to that. You got out of the car, whether to look at his license plate or to ask him a question, depending upon when you gave the information. Whatever it is, you're in a big car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're a bit quiet.
But he lied on his statement, Your Honor. He's lying to you in this courtroom.
Just a second.
I have never lied to anyone.
Just a second. I'm listening to what you tell me. I'm not even paying attention to him. Pay careful attention, Mr. Duplessis.
Would you like to read his statement to the police department?
Listen to me very carefully, sir. I'm listening to what you told me, not what he told me. I think he's driving erratically. He wanted to go to the gas station, and nobody would let him in. The little green car wouldn't let him in, and you wouldn't let him in. 2 cars wouldn't let him in, and he wanted to go to the gas station all the way over to the left. That's what he told me today. Didn't tell me that in his complaint. That's not the point. The point is, you can either avoid a confrontation or not. And you had the ability to accomplish exactly what you say you wanted to accomplish, to protect your daughter. By getting on the phone, calling the police and saying, red Honda, this license plate, driving erratically, currently at the gas station. That's not what you did. You got out of your car. And once you got out of your car, you presented a threat.
If you read the report, Your Honor, the police report clearly states on the video, I never yelled, said one word or anything.
You don't have to yell. I'm looking at you, sir. And let me tell you something, Mr. Duplessis. If I were driving a car and went from one side to another because I wanted to get to Bloomingdale's, and I drove what you consider to be erratically because I cut somebody off, I didn't see him and cut him off, or I did see him and cut him off, and I saw your car, your Silverado, and I'm driving my little convertible, and you pull up in front of me where I'm stopped, and your Hulk gets out of the car and starts to come towards me, according to you, what you told the police, to ask him a question, I would have reacted the same way you said he reacted.
By running someone down in a parking lot?
Sir, if there was a choice between hurting me and hurting you, you're getting it, not me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Tell me what you were saying to Egg.
and I went for it the entire time she was yelling, just egging on the race and having a
Now,
good time.
do you know whether or not Miss Grove had ever done drag racing herself?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Bo Shattuck says fellow motorist Todd Duplessis kicked his car during an incident of road rage. Todd denies the charge and is countersuing for reckless endangerment.
So you're responsible for the damage to his car? Because I think you kicked it. Not think. I know you kicked it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,100. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, she made the right decision.
He's a menace on the road, and I don't care what Judge Judy says, I would do it again.
It was frightening.
Because people like him need to be reported. They need to find out what's going on. The police shouldn't just stand by and let him go.
And I could only imagine if, he was to do that to my mother or somebody, who was more frightened.
I have a 17-year-old daughter to protect, and people like him that kill innocent kids.
When he was back behind me, when he came, everything, from the time that he was in the truck.
Before the court step in and stop him from doing it, that's the problem I have.
To the time that he got out and kicked the car. And right then I wasn't sure if he was going to kick the window.
I'm sorry.
I'll probably do the same thing. I think I did all the best that I could.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Grove versus Lowe. Step forward.
18-year-old Brittany Grove is suing her former friend, 21-year-old Brandon Lowe, for destroying her car's engine during a drag race.
Let me see if I can visualize what your complaint is. You know the defendant.
Yes.
You were out for an evening. A group of you was going to go to a garage to watch something that had to do with cars. Are you a car enthusiast?
No.
You were just going along for the party.
Yes.
And it was your car that was being driven.
Yes.
But for whatever reason, you allowed the defendant to drive your car.
Yes.
And what night was this?
It was technically December 29th, early morning, December 30th.
And at some point, Mr. Lowe, who was driving, engaged in some drag racing with some friends, correct?
Yes.
Correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And this drag race lasted for about 3 minutes. You lost.
Correct.
And you had been drag racing before, so you knew what that entailed.
Professionally, yes, Your Honor.
Professionally drag racing.
Correct.
And when you professionally drag race, you professionally drag in what kind of car?
Typically, it is classic muscle cars that have been built to handle.
That you were driving Miss Grove's car is not one of those cars.
No, ma'am.
What kind of car was Miss Grove's car?
It was a Saturn.
A Saturn. Lovely, safe little car, not designed to do major drag racing.
Correct.
And I just want you to explain for those of us, and including myself, drag racing involves going very fast.
Correct.
How fast, Mr. Lowe?
In a lot of cases at the drag strip, it can be anywhere from 100 miles per hour to 200 miles per hour plus.
How fast were you going in Miss Grove's car?
80 miles per hour, ma'am.
How old was your car, Miss Grove?
My car is an 02 Saturn.
So your car's an old car?
Yes.
When did you purchase it?
I purchased it last February.
And how many miles did it have on it?
When I bought it, it had 198,000 on
So 200,000 miles. Now, when you finished this drag race, the engine blew on her car.
It did not fully blow up. It began making a strange noise a couple of miles after we were done racing.
And after that, it required a new engine.
Yes.
And you want Mr. Lowe to pay for the engine.
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want you to start banging your head on the table and don't stop until I tell you.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, thank you, why? I'm egging you on. I'm saying to you, it would be pleasurable for me to see you banging your head against the table.
People. Judge Judy.
Brittany Grove says former friend Brandon Lowe destroyed the engine of her car during a drag race. Brandon claims he had Brittany's permission to race the vehicle.
Now, Mr. Lowe's defense is that you were in the back seat and you were egging him on and encouraging him to drag race.
That is not true.
Shh. I'm telling you, that's his defense. Well, whether it's true or not, that's his defense. So your defense is, despite the fact that I knew it was dangerous, because drag racing is dangerous, right?
It is, Your Honor.
And despite the fact that I knew that this car was not designed for drag racing, I did it because the plaintiff who owned the car was egging me on.
Correct.
Tell me what she was saying to egg you on.
When the race initially got initiated, Jason pulled up next to us, and I looked over to her, and she said, "Go for it, you can do it, my car will beat him." And I went for it the entire time. She was yelling, putting her arm out the window, just egging on the race and having a good time.
Do you know, Mr. Lowe, whether or not Miss Grove had ever done drag racing herself?
No, Your Honor, but I do know. This is my witness, Matthew Brown. He was with them prior in the night when they were drifting, which also does a very high strain on the vehicle.
We're not talking about the night before. We're talking about December 30th, early in the morning.
Correct.
How old are you, Mr. Lowe? So you know how to follow directions.
Absolutely.
Good. Just move over a little bit on the table.
Okay.
I want you to start banging your head on the table, and don't stop until I tell you. No, listen to me. I'm making you on. I want you to start banging your head against that table, and don't stop until I say, Mr. Lowe, you can stop now.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, thank you, why? I'm giving you a direction. I'm egging you on. I'm saying to you, it would be pleasurable for me to see you banging your head against the table until I tell you to stop, until Bird and I have finished our conversation.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you wouldn't do that because it would be dangerous.
Yes.
So a 21-year-old man who knows that something is potentially dangerous and potentially harmful wouldn't engage in that conduct unless there was something wrong with them.
Correct.
Is there anything wrong with you?
There is not.
Good. How much is it going to cost for a new engine?
I already paid for it, Your Honor.
How much was it?
It was...
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Brandon went on the other side of the road and started racing Jason.
It was a mistake that I made to race her vehicle, however...
And just kept going and kept getting faster and faster, and that's when I realized.
With the drifting that she was doing prior, I do not feel that I should have had to pay it.
He was the one actually drifting the vehicle.
They pulled up next to me and started revving their engine, and
I was scared. She told him to stop. I did not.
The racing community typically means that they would like to drag race.
He just told me to be quiet because he knows what he's doing.
She was very, very excited.
Absolutely not.
She was egging me on, telling me to go faster, telling me to get into it more.
No, I did not encourage him at all.
There is no friendship anymore.
Not to let people drive my car.
So far, you're squatters who stayed 2 months without paying rent.
Freeloading tenants have a lot to say.
She told us that she didn't want any money from us at all.
She wanted you out.
Housing told us our rights. Wait for her to try to evict us.
But the time for talk is over.
The two of you were idiots for staying there.
We had no choice.
This is a free America. What do you mean you had no choice?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ramalda Ione is suing her former tenants, Patrick Valdivia Minsol, and girlfriend, Rachel Bachakis, and Patrick's father, Francisco Valdivia, for damages resulting from a false arrest and property damage.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, it's case number 116 on the calendar in the matter of Ion versus Valdivia, Minsol, Bachakis, Valdivia. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
What is your last name?
Valdivia Minsol.
And yours?
Valdivia.
Who was a tenant in this house? You can sit down. Okay. I didn't think you were a tenant. Just the two of you were tenants in the house. These were your tenants?
Yes.
They had an oral lease or a written lease?
We actually have a written lease.
I'd like to see it.
Thank you.
Well, it just says that she received $600 to rent a room at this address. They will be moving in on January 2015 between 1st or the 5th. Deposit to have a full refund, and you signed it.
Yes.
Okay, this is what the case is about. You claim that they had you falsely arrested. So there is an oral lease. Rent was $600 a month. You moved in January. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
January of 2015. When did you move out?
February.
Of 2016.
When did she first tell you that she wanted you to move out? What month?
September.
In September.
I actually have...
yeah, she has a paper.
Good. So between the time you moved in, which was January 2015, and the time you were notified that she wanted you to leave, which was in September.
Right. After we asked for repairs.
It's just September.
Yes, September.
2015. Between those periods of time, you paid rent.
Yes.
In what amount?
$600.
Your Honor, they pay you.
Shh. I'm figuring this case out myself.
Sure.
After September of 2015, when she notified you that she would like you to be out by the 15th of October, and she sent this to you on September 15th, did you pay October's rent?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Shh. The answer is yes. May I see it?
Yes.
We show them all.
October's rent paid on October 15th.
Yes.
Did you pay November's rent?
Yes.
May I see it?
Yes.
You paid that on November 20th.
Yes.
Did you pay December's rent?
No, we did not. But
Okay.
No.
You did not pay December's rent?
No. She told us that she didn't want any money from us at all.
Just a second.
Okay.
No, she wanted you out on October 15th.
We have a text message saying that she wants us out, that she doesn't want a penny for us for utilities or rent.
Just a second.
Okay.
Listen to me carefully. I'm going to take a look at that.
Okay.
She's already served you with a 30-day notice to leave.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Okay.
September 15th, she served you. This is your evidence, a notice to leave. You did not leave on October 15th. You paid rent on October 15th. You got a letter from your landlord. Due to different circumstances, I will be moving out by 30th September. She told you you were renting a room, correct? New people will be moving in on October 1st. I am sorry, but I need you to please move out by the 15th of October. Enough time to clear out everything. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. All right, that's what she sent you. So instead of moving out, you stayed October 15th, and you stayed it the whole month of November.
Yes.
And then December, you were still there. Pay attention to me. I'm creating in my own head. Put your hand down. I didn't ask you a question.
Okay.
So you stayed there, and what you just told me was she said, I don't want you to pay any more rent or utilities. I just want you out. That's what you just told me.
Yes, that was January.
That's what you just told me. So you neither paid rent nor utilities, nor did you move in December. Is that right?
No.
Good. So you didn't move in December. And in January, did you pay rent?
No.
No. And did you move?
We moved February when she told us to.
No, she told you to move in October.
May I speak? She jumps back and forth a lot. She would come say, have a problem with us. She'll talk to the mediators, and she'd be like, oh, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. We're all family. That's why we were really confused with her. Then when she found out about the housing...
You weren't confused about not paying rent.
She did it out of retaliation, though, because we called the housing services on her.
Who cares?
We had rent for her.
You ate the steak.
But she deposited our rent checks.
You went in to the restaurant, you ordered a steak, you tasted it. You said, I've had better steak. You didn't give to the owner of the restaurant, I'm not paying for the steak, I didn't like it.
May I?
You can tell me anything you like, but you ate the steak. You, and is this your wife or girlfriend?
This is my girlfriend.
This is your girlfriend. You and your girlfriend.
But she told us that she didn't want any more money, though. She said that she didn't want to go through an eviction.
Go tell them about
She didn't want to go through an eviction because she said, she knew we went to housing and housing told us our rights. Our housing told wait for her to try to evict us.
And she explained that we could stay. I mean...
And she told us that she cannot charge us for utilities on an illegal unit when it's a single-family dwelling.
Listen to me. You don't like the steak? Move.
I did.
You didn't move.
I was waiting for her to pick up.
Just a second. You stayed and you ate the steak December and January, and you didn't pay for the steak. You stayed there and you ate it, and you lived there perfectly fine and paid rent. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. All of a sudden, when she told you you had to move, she sent you a very nice letter. Now, this is what the case is about. I'm just trying to figure out who you are.
Okay.
So far, you're squatters who stayed 2 months without paying rent.
That's
now,
not true.
Now what I want to know is, when you filed for an order of protection, what month and year did you file for an order of protection in
It was January
the protective...
22nd, 2016.
January. Okay, now in January 22nd, you already had not paid rent in December. You had not paid rent in January. Now I want to see what you filed. Put your hand down and take your hand off his thigh.
See, she moved out of, and we couldn't find her, so how is it my responsibility to find her to pay her rent? She wouldn't tell us where she lives. How was I supposed to pay her rent?
She gave us a letter saying that she didn't want the rent. She just wanted us to move out to avoid an issue with the thing. Because she knew we talked to housing, and housing told us our issue. Well, our rights.
Okay, well...
December's check. She didn't pick it up. You guys paid it. If you don't tell her, you're going to lose. Say excuse me.
Excuse me, she didn't pay... we paid December, but we still have it. I mean, she didn't come and collect it.
And then she told us she didn't want it.
And she purposefully did that, so she didn't have to...
I'm reading what you filed in here.
I understand.
You know what you filed in here?
Yes, I do.
Ah.
Yes, I do.
Patrick needs protection because Romalda has been harassing him verbally and tried opening his front door, threatening him to throw him and my property out. Then she says, November, she threatened me after she asked you to move, and my boyfriend, saying we had to leave. That locks on us and throw our property out. Today, January 2nd, she ran up to my car, waited outside for me, opened up my door without my consent, grabbed me and threatened me. Now I want you to tell me about that. I want you to tell me on January 22nd exactly what happened.
Okay, I was leaving my property at like 8 a.m., and she was in the backyard cleaning because she didn't live at the property, but she was still cleaning the backyard up. I was walking out, and she comes up to me, and it's already been arranged that she wouldn't speak to me because I told her I felt uncomfortable. That's why she speaks to Javier. She doesn't speak, I mean, we don't understand each other.
You understood each other before October.
Not very clearly.
Before October. Well, then you're an idiot for staying there.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The family friend, you went to housing to get her into...
To fix the property that was damaged. We had water coming through our walls. My girlfriend had bronchitis for months. We had a sink that was full of water that she would not fix.
Go like this. Go like this. Go like this.
Yeah.
Get a job and move.
And later today...
She answered, and I had my hand on my chin, and I said, "Did you lose your dog?" And she said, "Yes." "Did you find him?" I said, "Yeah, he's in your garage." And he bit my face. And she said, "Marshmallow bit your face?" And I said, "Yes, Marshmallow bit my face."
That's why we're here.
Real people, Judge Judy. Romaldo Ayon says former tenants Patrick Valdivia Menzel and girlfriend Rachel Bachakis owe for a false arrest and property damage.
Okay, the two of you were idiots for staying there.
We had
just a second. What do you mean you had no choice?
We had no choice.
What do you mean you had no choice?
Well, we needed a place to stay, and she was a family friend. And she offered a place.
We don't have a lot of money.
I want to tell you something. You both sound ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Thank God.
This is a free America. If you're not getting along with the family friend, go someplace else. You look like two able-bodied people. So before October, you had no problem with her. In October, when she told...
we had problems with her since day one.
Then you should have moved.
We were planning on to, Your Honor.
Planning.
Yes, we plan on planning.
It's hard with minimum wage jobs.
We cannot be harassed by a landlord. We have rights as tenants. When we talk to people from housing, they told us, wait for them to evict us.
Don't tell me what... Listen.
That's what they told us. They had an investigation on it for a single-family housing, renting it out to 3 different units. That was illegal.
Right. So now the family friend, you went to housing to get her into...
fix the property that was damaged. We had water coming through our walls. My girlfriend had bronchitis for months. We had a sink that was full of water that she would not fix.
Go like this. Go like this. Job and move.
I do have a job. I do have a job. I work very hard for my job.
Very good. And what about her? Does she work?
She's going to school. I'm helping her.
I did work.
Go to school.
When I lived there, I did work.
She did.
Then if you have two able-bodied people, nobody has to live...
And nobody deserves to be harassed. Nobody deserves to be harassed.
Over me. This is my playpen.
Okay, it's true.
You got the drift of where we're going? The drift of where we're going is if you don't like where you're living...
You move.
You move. What you do is you don't call housing and say, I want to know what my rights are. And
yeah, because I want to know if she could throw myself in the street.
You're not talking over me, and then stop paying rent. That's what you don't do unless you're a squatter.
You're not understanding.
Unless you're a squatter. And then what you do is you resort to the courts and abused protective orders, because I'm reading this, and this is a crock of baloney.
Yes.
If you came to me in family court with this crock of baloney, I would never have granted you a temporary order of protection, because on the temporary order of protection, she was at the property on which you were not paying rent.
We were paying rent. She refused.
At that time,
to,
we were
What
paying
happens
rent.
when they refuse to cash your checks? When they refuse to pick up your checks, then what are you left with, Your Honor? I'm sorry,
Well,
but I don't
well, just a
understand.
second.
We paid our stuff. We had it the whole time.
She wanted you out.
So it's okay for her to harass.
Just
it's
a
okay
second.
for her to touch.
Just a second. I did it. Get a life, get a job, as she's required to do. She gave you 30 days notice. You said, I'm not moving.
How about...
And I'm not finished. I'm not moving. She says, you have to move. I'm moving out of here. This friend that goes back and goes forth, you go and you file for a protective order to keep her off of her property. And then when she's on her property, you call the police and you have her
Well, it looks like
arrested.
this case is
Judgment
over,
for the
so-
plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done.
Parties are excused. May step out.
We were being harassed, saying that they were going to throw our stuff in the street.
I went to jail for no reason.
How can you send somebody rent checks and them not deposit it and it's your fault?
I catch every single check.
Have everything in a correct lease. Do not have verbal agreements because something like this will happen in the future.
Thank you, Judge Judy, and I'm very happy to be here.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kotzen versus Tung Ye. Step forward.
Ryan Kotzen is suing his neighbor, Joyce Tung Ye, for medical bills after her dog bit him in the face.
Mr. Kotzen, on what day were you being a good Samaritan, sir?
July 25th.
Where did this happen and what time of day?
It happened by my house in Northridge. It was around the afternoon.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, so I was driving home. I just had picked up some food. And driving through my neighborhood, I see a dog walking across the street without...
Dog?
It looked like a little poodle.
How big?
Maybe 15 pounds.
What color?
White.
Anybody else on the street?
No, but there were cars driving by.
So you pulled over.
I pulled over. I was concerned for the animal.
And what did you do?
And I got out of the car. I walked up to the dog. It seemed friendly enough. As I went up to it, I got to pet it. It seemed really friendly. I reached down to look at the collar, and that's when it jumped up and bit and latched onto my cheek and violently shook. So I pushed it off me, and I chased it, and it ran into a garage. So I figured it must be the owner's.
Okay. When you saw it go into the garage, what did you do next?
My first instinct was, okay, this must be the house. So I went and got something to cover my face because I was bleeding.
You went back to your car?
Mm-hmm. And then I went to the door and knocked on Joyce's door. She answered.
Did you know her before?
No.
Okay. And?
And she answered, and I had my hand on my chin, and I said, did you lose your dog? And she said, yes. Did you find him? I said, yeah, he's in your garage. And he bit my face. And she said, Marshmallow bit your face? And I said, yes, Marshmallow bit my face.
That's why we're here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your answer is ridiculous. Your answer first denies that it was your dog, because your dog was in the garage when you left. When you saw
My
it,
dog was in the...
that it was somebody else's dog. It wasn't somebody else's dog. It was your dog.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ryan Kotzen says neighbor Joyce Tung Ye should pay his medical bills after her stray dog bit him in the face.
Okay. You want the defendant to be responsible for your medical bills?
Yes, and she did say that she would pay for them.
Okay. When did you notice your dog missing? When that day did you notice your dog missing?
I noticed my dog was missing. I didn't let him out.
What time did you notice? I said when?
I don't remember. Maybe 10, 15 minutes after the contractor arrived.
You were at home?
I was at home.
And what time did the contractor arrive? Morning, afternoon?
Oh, early afternoon.
When you noticed your dog missing, what did you do?
I went out to look for him.
And did you find him?
No.
Did you call the police? Did you notify animal control?
No.
Why not?
Because in the past, when we were in Orange County, Gardner will forget to close the gate, the dog will go out, and he will come back.
That's exactly what I wanted you to hear.
So
out there. Well, so this has happened to you before, and the dog always came back.
Correct.
You're on notice that your dog gets out, and if I believe the story, it was the contract who let the dog out. You can't let your dog out. I actually, I said, well, if this was the first time this happened, and she immediately reported it to the police, and it had never happened before, but evidently this is an occurrence that happens frequently.
No. No, not frequently.
How infrequently?
Maybe once in Orange County.
I don't believe you. You have to pay for his medical bills. Can I see him, please?
Yes, of course. Maybe I'll just give you everything. No?
Just
You have a dog, you're supposed to keep your dog in your house, under your control, or under your control at all times.
But I didn't let the dog out.
I don't care if you let the dog out. It's your dog. I don't care who let the dog out. Somebody who you allowed into your house let the dog out, and the dog's been let out before, and I guarantee you more than once.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. So how much were your out-of-pocket expenses, sir?
$386.07.
Do you have photographs of your injury?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at them. Why didn't you pay his medical bills?
I asked to see the receipts. He never gave me the receipts.
When did you ask for the...
I went to the animal shelter, and the inspector came out to inspect my house. Nothing found wrong.
Listen to me. Your answer is ridiculous. Your answer first denies that it was your dog, because your dog was in the garage when you left, when you saw it.
My dog was
a,
in the garage.
Yeah.
Next time I saw him.
Yeah, well, but that suggests that it was somebody else's dog. It wasn't somebody else's dog. It was your dog. Ryan must have seen a small stray dog that he stupidly decided to pick up, since a small dog can't jump 6 feet in the air and bite him in the face. Well, if you're trying to look and see where the dog comes from, if it's a stray dog and it's got a collar, you have to bend down and look at the collar to see the name on the collar. Doesn't that make sense to you?
It does.
All right.
Okay.
It makes more sense than your answer. Okay, your expenses are about $400, and I'm awarding you another $600 for pain and suffering. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,000. We're done here. You should have paid the medical bills on time.
He never showed me the receipts.
Step out.
A boxing trainer.
I gave them a passion.
That's nice. These women were passionate about canceling their memberships.
A gym owner.
He inappropriately touched a female on her buttocks, and I also had a client come to me crying because she felt like her personal space was violated.
And constant complaints packed a punch.
I tried to give him a chance, Your Honor.
If I were running a business, I would fire his behind. Fast.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Boxing gym owner Danny Calhoun Jr. is suing his former employee, boxing trainer Charlando Peoples, for violation of a non-compete agreement, defamation, and loss of business.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 183 on the calendar in the matter of Calhoun versus Peoples.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Calhoun, you run a gym, is that correct?
Correct.
Where is it located?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
How many gyms are there in Cincinnati?
At least 20 or 30 gyms in the entire city.
Between 20 and 30. And how many within a 10-block radius of where you are?
10-block radius, I would say maybe 4, 5.
Because I assume that before you started your business, which is a relatively new business, you did a survey of the area and said, you know, is there room for another business similar to mine? So there were 4 or 5 relatively close by.
Well, the ones that are similar to mine, they're on the outskirts, so they're at least 20 miles outside of the facility.
20 miles?
Exactly.
When you say similar to yours, in what respect?
Use the techniques as far as training boxing. We teach women's boxing specific, so we teach them self-defense boxing, and also we incorporate a fitness aspect of the workout.
So you do regular gym work in addition to boxing?
Correct, and boxing is...
You have trainers other than boxing trainers, or you only have boxing trainers?
We only hire boxing trainers.
So that each person that comes to your gym is there for boxing training?
Correct.
But as part of the boxing training regimen, they learn other exercises?
Exactly.
Okay, so this is what the case is about. You hired Mr. Peoples and claim that after a period of time he left, he quit, and in violation of your non-compete agreement, he trained other people within the catchment area of your non-compete clause, and he took some of your clients.
Yes.
Mr. Peoples says that's not correct, that you actually fired him and you didn't pay him his wages that you do owe him, and also that he's been trying to start his own little business and train people, and you've been defaming him. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you hire Mr. Peoples?
We hired him on March the 9th, 2016.
And when had you opened your business?
2011.
How many trainers do you have, Mr. Calhoun?
Currently, we have 4.
And at the time that you hired Mr. Peoples, how many trainers did you have?
We had 2.
So you've added 2 trainers?
Correct.
Are they 2 full-time?
Full-time, and then we also have management.
Okay. So at the time that you hired the defendant, you had 1 full-time, that was you, and 2 part-time.
Correct.
And now you have 4.
Correct.
You have 1 full-time and 3 part-time?
Correct.
And the full-time is still you?
Yes.
So between the time that you and Mr. Peoples separated, for whatever reason, by the way, what month was that?
The end of May.
Okay, so he was working for you for just a couple of months.
Correct.
So between the end of May and now, your business has increased sufficiently so that you brought on an extra part-time trainer.
Correct.
Good. So you didn't suffer any loss of business.
We suffered lost business.
Well, that would be hard based upon what you just told me, that you suffered loss of business. And you would have to speculate that you would really have more than that, more than just the need for 4 instructors. Well, you only had need for 3 instructors before. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I understand. We needed more help at the time, but we were short-staffed when we had the 2 instructors plus myself. Right now, we have what we need to survive.
So what you're saying is when you hired him,
we were short-staffed.
You were short-staffed, and if you... Okay, I'm just playing with words with you.
Correct.
If you were short-staffed, that means that you weren't, because it's a service business, and if you had fewer people to serve your clientele, they were getting shortchanged.
They were not getting shortchanged.
Okay, all right. I have to tell you, I'm going to try to figure out whether he was fired, and if he was fired for a reason, whether you owe him any money. But I have a problem, Mr. Calhoun, because I've looked at, which you gave me as part of your evidence, the agreement that he signed. And it looks to me as if the pertinent part of that agreement suggests that there is a 100-mile radius where he is not allowed to practice his business of training once he comes to work for you.
Correct.
Right? And he worked for you for 8 weeks. And the closest, according to what you told me earlier, facility that is similar to yours is 20 miles away. So you made your agreement 100 miles away. That's a bit onerous to me. And a judge, in looking at that kind of an employment contract, says, just like when you look at an agreement to pay interest, you know, you can have an exorbitant interest rate. And if it's so exorbitant that courts find it unconscionable, courts will say, I'm going to vacate it. I will not enforce it because it's so onerous. So my first question to you would, how do you justify a 100-mile non-compete clause when you have the closest place doing the same training as the kind of training you do is only 20 miles away?
Well, we're the only ones that do the type of training that we offer. We train our staff for 2 to 4 weeks before we hire them. Our competitors do not do the same things that we do.
I'm talking miles. And so what you do is you say you train for 4 weeks. You hired Mr. Peoples, and I'm not saying he's a good guy or a bad guy, because you're a good guy. You're a good guy. You're a business guy. You hired him on March 9th. So you trained him for a month, or had he already been in training?
Before he was hired, he was being trained.
Okay. When was he being trained?
He was being trained 2 weeks before he got hired.
Were you paying him for those 2 weeks of training?
No, it's not paid training.
Why not?
Because we have employees that come in and they don't complete the training, and there's a waste of money for the hours that we put in to train our trainees.
So he started to work actually in the end of February. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And he worked at the end of February for nothing?
Well, he didn't work. He was just with me one-on-one training, learning the business.
Great. And then you liked him well enough to start him on March 9th?
Correct.
Why did you separate from him at the end of May?
At the end of May, there were numerous clients' complaints. We have female clients.
Okay, just a second. Let's take that slowly. There were clients complaining, which is a little bit of hearsay, but what year did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
When?
I spoke with him 2 weeks after, and I have the probationary papers here, but I spoke with him 2 weeks after he was hired.
Okay. So that would have been sometime around March 20th.
March 23rd, to be exact.
You spoke to him that you weren't happy with his performance in what way?
Clients were complaining to me verbally, and I also had a client come to me crying because she felt like her personal space was violated. She sent me a letter in email that I have here.
I'd like to see it. Do you acknowledge, Mr. Peoples, that you had this conversation with him? And whether the these emails are true or not. Did he show them to you?
He didn't show me emails, but we had a talk before.
You had a conversation about
Yes,
them?
ma'am, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is just from one person.
Yes, but I have more.
I'd like to see them. Thank you, Mr. Calhoun. Okay, Mr. Calhoun, if I were running a business and it appears to me that you were running a successful, had been coming to you for years, and I received these kinds of emails from them that you did discuss with the defendant, I would fire his behind.
I understand, Your Honor. I tried to...
Fast!
Yes, I tried to give him a chance, Your Honor, when he came to me. He really liked the sport of boxing, and I have a business
Good,
that...
he should go train men.
Yeah, he should train men.
He should go train men.
Wait, what exactly happened?
Well, you had several different women say, sir, that you didn't quite understand that a woman's personal space may be different from a man's personal space. And when they complained to you about sort of being in their personal space, and they had been coming to training for years, your response was, it's boxing.
Correct.
I saw what your response was. And when she tried to explain that, it made her feel uncomfortable. And it's a service that you're providing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not a drill sergeant in the Army, where you have to be in the Army. You provide a service.
But I'm also an athlete. And when I train, I gave them a passion, you know. So when
That's nice. These women were passionate about canceling their membership.
They were just used to a system that didn't work.
Just a second.
Oh, okay.
If his system didn't work for you, but worked for his clients.
But I trained her like a few weeks after that, too, and it was easy. We talked, we communicated. Like, come on, 100 more punches, let's go.
Your Honor, she came to me in tears in front of 12 witnesses.
Just a second. I would fire him. Did you fire him?
I gave him a talk. I put him on probation for 90 days. I gave him a second chance.
And then you got more letters.
I got more letters.
And then what did you do?
Then I terminated him.
Fine, so you fired him.
Yes.
On what date did you fire him?
He was terminated on May the 27th.
Now, on May 27th, did you owe him any money?
Yes, we sent the check in the mail, and I have a copy of it. It was returned to us. I also reached out to him to confirm the address.
Okay, so you sent him a check in the amount of how much?
The amount was $112.
Is that what he owed you?
Nah.
What did he owe you?
Roughly around
No. I want to hear what he owed you, and if you don't know, say I don't know.
I do know.
Well, then tell me how much he owed you. He owed you $600.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have paperwork there to show me how he owes you $600?
I have my bank statements of my last check, which was May 3rd. It was $400.
Just a second. Your last check, May 3rd, was $400.
Mm-hmm. I went to a trip to the Bahamas, like the 10th or something like that. So it was my, 2-week trip.
So you didn't work 2 weeks in May?
Right. But I received my check for...
Just a minute.
From the 18th.
You got a check on May 3rd, Mr. Peoples, for... And that's for work that you did 2 weeks before.
Correct.
Great. And then you left for 2 weeks to go for a trip to the Bahamas, so you did not work.
It might have been a week, though. It felt like 2 weeks. It was a long trip.
$112. He gets $112. Where he gets $600 from, I have absolutely no idea.
I don't either.
I don't either. Neither does he.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you have a membership with Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
What did you do with that membership?
In August, I reached out asking to cancel it.
And can you tell me why you left the gym and elected to follow Mr. Peoples?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Boxing gym owner Danny Calhoun Jr. says former employee, trainer Charlando Peoples, violated their non-compete agreement and defamed him. Charlando is countersuing for unpaid wages and harassment.
What's the rest of your complaint, Mr. Calhoun? So far, he didn't leave. You fired him. He's entitled to his money, which is part of his counterclaim.
The rest of my complaint, Your Honor, there were numerous complaints. He was inappropriate buttocks.
Listen to me, sir. That's why you fired him. You don't get compensated for that.
Well, this is what caused, the behavior is what caused other people to cancel the memberships. I was going away to a boxing camp for a week, and during that week time, I received emails where I had to call my witness and say, I'm coming in town because I have to fire Lando. People are canceling memberships left and right.
Fine. Mr. Calhoun, listen to me carefully,
yes,
sir. I think you're a very nice man and a good businessman, and I think that you were very fair with him. Your business is better now than when you hired him. We know that because you have more people working for you as trainers than you did when you hired him. So you didn't suffer a loss of business. The only thing that I have an issue with is whether or not I should impose any sort of a non-compete, whether I should substitute my own judgment for your 100-mile radius non-compete or just say I'm not going to enforce it at all because it's too onerous. So let me ask you this question, Mr. Peoples. Where are you working now?
Right now, I am a mental health specialist at St. Joseph Orphanage.
So you're not training?
I am.
At the orphanage?
No. Well, I'm starting a program there. It's pretty much troubled teens that I deal with a lot.
I got it.
Okay.
Is that a full-time job?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much do you earn at that full-time job?
Like 12 something an hour.
But it's a full-time job.
Grew up in the same system, you know, so.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a path to something there.
Yeah.
Great. Do you train anyone?
Yes, I've trained 2 students from there. I can't disclose their names, but I also trained one of my managers as well from there.
Okay. Now, the 2 students that you train from there,
yeah.
Do you train them at their house?
No, I train them at my boxing gym. I train that personally.
And how much do you charge them an hour?
None. Everything is not profit. So, you know, I just want to give the kids an opportunity to change their life. And
I'm talking about the people from his gym.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the kids. No, so the people from his gym, I have my witness here.
Do you train any of the people that you met at his gym?
Yes, 2. Lindsay Smalls and another client.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have to stop writing this stuff that you were writing about your former employer. Do you understand? Because you're not going to destroy his business, but I want you to stop writing about him. It's childish.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Boxing gym owner Danny Calhoun Jr. claims former employee, trainer Charlando Peoples, violated their non-compete agreement.
Can you tell me how long you were a member of Mr. Calhoun's gym?
Since January of 2016.
So a relatively short period of time.
Correct.
Before Mr. Peoples joined.
Right.
And can you tell me why you left the gym and elected to follow Mr. Peoples?
I left because I felt that the amount of money that I was paying, the trainers that were coming in, like Mr. Calhoun said, they were short-staffed. I wanted to do personal training. There wasn't anybody there that I felt was able to do that with me, that I felt would help me reach my goals. So I reached out to Mr. Peoples to see if we could train.
And when did you start to train with him?
About the 2nd week of June.
Did you have a membership with Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
What did you do with that membership?
I had it still. I paid for June and July. In August, I reached out asking to cancel it. And so I have not paid the cancellation fee, but I will be canceling the membership.
And what's the cancellation fee?
My balance left was $600, so I have to pay half of it, so $300.
And you haven't been using the service?
Correct.
And all in all, he worked for you for 8 weeks?
Yes, 8 weeks.
Well, Mr. Calhoun, the only other part that I'm going to hear of in your complaint is the defamation part, and I would like to see evidence of that.
I have it all here, Your Honor.
Your witness, you train one other person from his gym, is
Yes.
that correct? Okay.
I have her letter right here. She wasn't able to come.
No, I don't read letters.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, Mr. Peoples, I'm going to tell you, you have to stop writing this stuff that you were writing about your former employer.
Okay.
Do you understand? Because I'm going to find that the 100-mile radius non-compete clause, considering that you worked for him for 8 weeks, was so overbearing as to be non-enforceable. I'm going to find that. And I'm going to give you your $112. That's what you deserve. I'm dismissing your counterclaim other than that. Your counterclaim was for harassment. I'm giving you a gift. A gift because you have a job, you have a full-time job, and in addition to that, you're trying to make additional money, which is, to me, a good thing. And you're not going to destroy his business because he has a business that's been going on now for 5 years successfully. He has people that like the way he trains. I assume that he will continue to move on. He has a facility, and I would assume that if you hired more people, it means your business about him.
Okay.
It's childish. Do you understand? Don't work off him. Work on your own reputation, Mr. Peoples. If you are a trainer that can attract somebody to come train with you, say, I prefer the way he trains, I'm not intimidated by the way he trains, good for you. You don't have to disparage anybody else.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand? Okay, that's it. Judgment on the counterclaim for $112, and the admonition is, sir, that the next time you write anything disparaging, Mr. Calhoun's going to come back to me.
Okay.
And then I'm not going to be so kind to you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
This case is over. Thank you.
Parties are excused and they step out. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Telling him how to respect women. 90% of my clientele is women. He didn't do that.
His first interview with me was like,
he was not teaching him the way he was supposed to be taught.
You know, sexual harassment and this type of thing.
Got this guy out here, you know, harassing clientele.
I think the whole butt touching thing was kind of a little out there.
Yeah, he got too close. You touch a woman's butt, that's too close.
You know, I'm not a touching type of guy.
You know, it's just ridiculous.